Maverick News, the antivirus program for your mind. And now, the Freedom Reporters.
Good evening, Maverick family. We're on the air just a little bit early tonight, about an hour early, actually, because we are going live to Windsor, Ontario, Canada, for a report from our good friend, Leo Lucier, Mouth of the South. Let me just see if I can get him online here. He is down at the Ford Fest in Windsor, Ontario. Ford Fest being the put on by the PC. Here we go. Here we go. He's saying that he's broadcasting live tonight. Here we are, picking up his feed now. There, now we're live.
Hi guys, where are you guys from? From Windsor? Oh, you work for Charles? What do you think of this? You guys got a great club. I was here for a wedding last year, and you had a colossal king crab lobster at this wedding. It was one of the best weddings I've ever been to. Media pass. Jake? Registered as Mouth of the South. So, are you going live right now, Mouth of the South? On YouTube? My YouTube station's Mouth of the South. If you don't know, you don't know. Now you know. Subscribe, like it, share it. So this is the food line for free hot dogs and French fries.
So this is put on by...
It's only 5 o'clock. This runs till 9 p.m. How you doing? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Amazing? Beautiful? Many, many people.
So in case you don't understand what's going on here, folks,
it's free. No, it's not. Okay. The policing, somebody. So this is a food line. They got little rides over here for the kids.
Doug Ford's coming here to speak and do his festival. Lots of amusement park rides, little things.
We'll get over here to the lineup.
This is the line for the food. It's a long line.
How you doing?
So what's going on is there's a big event in Windsor, Ontario tonight. Ontario's premier, Doug Ford, is putting this on. It's co-hosted.
Somebody is along the line.
Co-hosted by the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party, which of course he is the leader of, and he's also
is carrying the cost for all this over here. The jumpy castles.
There are rides. They're giving away free food. Apparently there are a lot of protesters there as well. I'm not sure where they're situated. Maybe outside the park. Leo, Mouth of the South, is down at the event tonight to provide live coverage. That's what he's doing right now. And he's down there helping us out. He announced at the beginning of the broadcast that he's down there working, in conjunction with us.
And this is
here on Maverick News. And
8 minutes in, they open the gates. And look how
these events have been happening across the province of Ontario, and they've been somewhat controversial because they are free. Some people wondering who exactly covers all of the cost of putting on these events. Now, I'm not exactly sure how the finances are working. I'm assuming
you guys are
that
doing
the
some pretty crazy stuff.
political party, the Progressive Conservative Party, is covering the bulk, if not all, of the costs associated with the event itself. But there is a heavy police presence here tonight. Leo is asking questions about who is paying for the policing at this event.
Wow, that's actually cool.
And a lot of people from the freedom movement down there tonight to protest Doug Ford, upset about a variety of
So
issues,
Jacob is my apprentice
trying
at
to
work,
raise
and he even
awareness
got
on a
media
variety of
pass
issues, including
under both of
drag
themselves.
queen story times, which are being
And I'm running for Rick Walker.
I'm shocked that they said what media. They don't care what media you're a part of.
they they're down there protesting the drag queen story times happening in schools.
So there's a few questions I do want to ask.
I'll let Leo speak here.
Oh, did you tell them we got front row seats?
Yeah, I got front row seats right here to the podium.
Right where he's going to speak.
And since Maverick Multimedia is now part of the media, I get to ask some serious questions.
I hope so. Let's hold the premier accountable. That's
You people tell me what you want me to ask. Let's let the audience participate.
Let's fill in what they don't know. So when we were pulling in, there was a lady standing out there with a public or private healthcare thing.
So we'll pull some of this audio down because we'll likely get a copyright strike on the music. That always happens on Facebook.
We have to give back, though.
Hey,
But this is live right now.
you're not
Leo,
getting my media pass.
Mouth of the South, reporting live from Ford Fest, put on by Ontario's Premier Doug Ford, saying that the entire
It's gonna
thing
be interesting. It
is
goes
free.
on from 5 till 9 p.m. And we're just waiting for Doug Ford to pull up here. Hopefully I don't get no copyright strikes by the music in the background.
We will. They love to copyright strike us, even when it's not warranted. We get them on Facebook
I
all
like
the time.
little Elvis. So if you can't afford food tonight, it's on Doug Ford. Hot dogs and hamburgers. Or hot dogs and french fries, I think. No hamburgers, sorry.
Make sure you get a phone and register.
I ate at the golf club today, so I'm pretty full from lunch.
I had a nice Harvey's for lunch.
I was at the Dominion golf course having lunch.
So that's what the scene is like down there right at the moment.
We're going to interview all kinds of sorts of people here.
And Leo's going to go through and speak with some people, maybe even ask the premier himself a few questions
I'm going to stay.
when he arrives, maybe before or after the speech. I would assume we'll pick up Doug Ford's speech tonight. I'm not sure exactly what time the premier will be speaking.
I think everybody knows what I think and how I feel. But one thing I've been learning from Mr. Rick Walker and Maverick Multimedia is to stay in the middle. My opinion means nothing. And since I'm recording, and since I have a media pass to be here,
There is one.
I have to watch exactly what I say.
There is one media that I am concerned about. Rebel.
I don't see Rebel News here yet, but you know they're going to be here.
Usually they get kicked out of everything.
So we got secret police over here.
I think it's mostly OPC.
Mike Vantrella, this is across the street from your work, buddy.
Area I agree. Everybody has
Like and share this, guys. Get it out there. Let's get countrywide. Hopefully they didn't make a mistake by giving me a media pass, but hey. I don't think so. You're hearing it live from the mouth of the South, the man without a plan, the master of all disasters. And like I said, if you can't afford to feed your family tonight, get on down here. Bring them here.
No mistake.
I'm not going to say no to free food. I'm not going to eat it. I'm full.
But you know what? Also, it brings the community together, regardless of what the view is.
Say that again.
You know, it doesn't matter what the view is. It brings people together.
Right.
It doesn't matter what your view is.
Mike Cantrella, it's the Doug Ford Fest, and I thought the mouth of the South, the man without a plan to master all disasters, had a big ego. Doug Ford has his own festival.
Hopefully the rain holds up.
And he's saying everything did not cost the taxpayers anything. But when I see the large presence of police all around the grounds, I know damn well they're not paying for that. And I asked mainstream media, CBC, about it. Jason View, I asked him to look into it. The policing costs.
Yeah, because I think it's only OPP here. I haven't seen no Windsor police. Oh,
it's at the Chachara. It's at the Chachara Club.
Sasha, happy Friday.
So there you go.
So I'm going to be doing my YouTube.
If you want to get some free hot dogs and you're in the Windsor, Ontario area, the Chachara Club is the place to be. They're giving them away free.
Crazier than the Polyef meet and greet, like the line.
Now Rick's going to kick himself in the ass because he could have got a media pass here, and I'd rather have Rick Walker sitting here asking the questions because he's more professional. I'm raw talent, and that's what you're getting with the mouth of the South. But Rick Walker is a professional who's done it for 30 years, and he knows the questions to ask. And it would have been good to see Rick here.
He's doing fine.
Yeah, Rick could have easily gotten him. But you're his star of the show. You're his light. You're his eyes.
That's true.
I'll lose my shit. I just get it going to show you guys.
Internet freezing.
Oh, there is hamburgers. So I was wrong. There is hamburgers, there is hot dogs, and there is French fries. Cotton candy for the kids. Let's see if these guys want to talk. What do you guys think of this? What do you think of this? The Ford Fest. Great. Who's paying for the policing at the end of the day for this? No idea. Who's your spokesman? Anybody here? No? That's fine. You know what? I think it's a great thing when somebody's going to give away free food. Get out here. If you can't feed your kids today, they got hot dogs, hamburgers, French fries. But the cost of the policing, right? That's on us.
Well, no doubt this is a campaign event. I know that we've had some controversy over this in some cities. To get in, what they were doing, and I'll have to ask Leo if this was the case here. I think it is also the case here in Windsor. You have to register beforehand.
You're not selling alcohol.
Or at least they're encouraging people to register beforehand on an app. And in some communities, the app prompts you to donate to the Progressive Conservative Party. And apparently you can't get past the final page, which asks for the donation when you log in without giving a donation. Or at least that's the way it appears. There is a way to still register, apparently, without donating money, but they don't make it easy. So some people have been saying, well, it's not really free. They want you to donate money. So there have been some reports of that going on, but they made it pretty clear through news releases and public announcements that they won't turn anyone away at this event tonight, that they won't charge people anything for the food. So you can go down there and they'll give you some free food. So it looks like the Progressive Conservative Party is taking care of the costs on this. Campaign costs, I guess.
You don't know what time he's coming in.
So
Coming off the street. Still alive?
yeah.
CBC.
Mainstream media.
Hey, CBC, what do you think of this? Is it? I think it's a great idea. Free food for anybody down here. If you can't feed your family tonight, get on down here to the Chicharo Club. It's free. And the CBC, they can't say. I can.
I know those guys.
Walk that way. Which way, Jake? Rick, I know you're here.
So is Rick screen recording this to his viewers?
I think we are live on Rumble
We are live.
and on YouTube
We're live around the world, man.
via
Tonight.
Maverick Multimedia.
We are live from Ford Fest with Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford. Thanks to Leo. Real heavy lifting here. I haven't seen those protesters yet, but I know they're out there waiting. Now we've seen some pretty aggressive protests where the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has been swarmed in recent weeks.
That's the
Now, what will happen with the Premier here tonight, I don't know. Some vehicles showing up. That looks like it could be part of the
they're not
Premier's
electric
group.
Tahoe or Suburbans.
That's probably police.
Who's that?
That looks like what's it, Menzies or
Menzies. David.
Fine.
So I'm front row to the show.
So I don't know what time the Premier will be speaking tonight. Leo is there to ask some questions if he can get access. We will pick up the speech when he shows up. Now, I don't know how political the speech will be, but he's a politician. Anyway, you slice it, it's a political event.
So I'm not against free food. Believe me.
And I'm not against free food either, as long as the party pays for it,
But
not the
these struggling
taxpayers.
times for a lot of families out there,
brings us all together.
anything's good for free. I'll give them credit on that. As long as the PC party's carrying the weight and it's not a burden on the taxpayers, I'm all down.
Free pop every.
Bouncy castles, rides for the kids. Premier Doug Ford accused these days of being more liberal than conservative. An event like this,
So they're giving away
I don't know. Is he buying
free
votes?
flags,
I suppose.
free shirts, free rain ponchos.
Where to get that at?
That 10 over there.
Free stuff and lots of it.
But my sister Sarah with 4 little kids at home, get out here. It's free food. Get it while you can. Don Jelinas. Anasty. Am I on Maverick right now? Let me know in the message here, because I can't watch Maverick. But I do have a media pass to be here, Donnie. Look at this. You're just coming in now.
Oh, yeah, you're live.
They gave me that.
That's the way it works, man. You got the credentials.
So tonight I'm carrying the weight of Rick Walker in Maverick Multimedia tonight?
Leo?
Yes, I am. Is he rumbling tonight? Am I on Rumble Live too, Anasty?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know about the South. My YouTube's going under Jacob right now.
You are live across the platforms, my friend.
Come on down, Donnie. I don't have to go to work till later. Something changed at work today for me that I really, really do like. I got called into a little meeting, and I told them I'm going to not punch in tonight. I'm going to come in later and work the rest of the night off. And they said, do you want to start at 8 o'clock p.m. every night, work till whenever? I said, yes, that's right up my alley. Walk towards the fence, the diamond line. Where's the diamond line? So I got a few people here I want to interview, and I am going to interview them because they are here.
So we'll pick up some other news of the day as we move on. We won't just fill the entire broadcast tonight with this. We do have other news to
report. They won't let you in? They won't let you in? Why? Wait a second. Because you're wearing this shirt, they won't let you in. I just seen a promotion. What's your name? Rick what? Rick Logan. I know you, man. Yeah, man. They won't let you in. Really? But they let me in with the Maverick Multimedia News and even gave me a pass. A media pass. I think there's going to be a few people on your side of the fence.
First of all, I don't understand how you can put coordination or court best on a political issue here. I don't understand that. I've never heard that before.
I've never heard of it either, brother. Yeah. I thought my ego was big.
Yeah. Yeah, now look. What a joke. Piece of shit.
Say your mind.
Yeah.
Freedom Reporters.
Dawkins is here too, the mayor of Windsor.
Well, I asked the police, who's paying for the policing, and they can't respond to that. Okay, I don't know why. But when they say it's...
I'm looking at you.
I know. We're paying for it. Yeah. You're paying for it. Sure. Yeah. At the end of the day...
Bring down your kids. Bring down everybody.
Free food. Yeah. The whole city of Windsor come down here and bankrupt the PC party with hot dogs and hamburgers and French fries.
Well, they don't work here.
Yeah. Secret police? Yeah, I know. Places full of undercovers. Yeah. Do they anticipate? I haven't heard of anything bad going to happen here.
No, there's not supposed to be anything bad happening here.
Right.
But, they want to send out, the whole Essex County police force.
They did, yeah. There's a lot of police here, a lot of police presence.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. I'm figuring that there's going to be a showing of interruption, I guess you might want to say. But man, I don't know.
You know what? I don't know either, honestly. Yeah. And even if I did know, I wouldn't tell you.
It's been going on. It's been going on for a while. They put it out. And now it's quiet for a bit, and then all of a sudden, boom, here it is. Yeah,
it was a sunny day today. Now look at we're headed into.
I wonder if those are all those chemtrails keeping us away.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I hear you.
Good luck. It could be 10 feet of snow if you stand out here in San.
I hear you. Yeah. You know what? I was up in Ottawa. I did my part down there, and I did my part at the Ambassador Bridge. Yeah. I stand for the little guy, period. And when I could see back then, inflation rising to heights where people can't afford to live anymore, I have a problem. That's what I was standing up for down in Ottawa and at the bridge.
And it's even gotten worse.
It's only going to get worse.
You know what I mean? Like, people need to stand up. They need to wake up. They need to, like this. This is what I don't understand.
What-
I don't understand this.
What's your solution to it?
The only solution is going to be to get you have to go from the top guy down.
Yes.
Hit the top guy.
Who's the top guy? Who's the top guy in your eyes? Trudeau.
Trudeau, then you hit the every province, then you go after the mayor.
You know, I'm not.
It's usually it's coming from federal.
I hate to
A lot
put.
of it comes from provincial too. So people get mixed up between federal and provincial.
Yeah.
Right. So you gotta watch what they try to screw people's heads out. Obviously, look, there's people that are here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're lost. You know, you try to talk to them and they get angry and stuff. So they're brainwashed.
Yeah.
It's the move.
Do you think you could buy votes by stuffing hot dogs and hamburgers and French fries down people's mouths and saying it's for free?
That's what he's trying to do. It's exactly what he's trying to do. But it's not free.
Right.
This is not free. This is all the taxpayers paying for this. You're using our money to pay for all this.
Right.
Right?
Oh, 100%.
So that's
I'm not
your kids down.
I'm not bamboozled by it at all. Okay. I know what time of day it is.
Here's the $1 free beers.
I just went in there and asked if there was $1 free beers. That's funny you asked that because that was one of his campaigning promises. Somebody asked me earlier if I was hungry. Do you want something to eat? I said I have enough to eat at home.
That's what I said. I said, bring the kids, pack this place for kids, and go eat.
Go eat.
Yeah.
Okay, take advantage of it now because you probably won't see this again. Not here, right? So
You also have to be concerned too that they put their food too, right? So
well, yeah, I try and stay away from the hot dogs. Not saying I don't eat hot dogs. I had a nice chili dog in last week. Where was I? In Drummondville, Quebec, and
Internet
had a nice
froze up.
chili
We're
dog,
good.
and yeah, it was good. I'm not saying I'm against hot dogs.
I'm not against that. I'm just against what they're putting in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. That goes with the whole food chain, right? When you get into it.
Hey, this is a question I want to ask you. Why are you not on stage? Why is that being done for? Because he's the premier of Ontario.
Well,
Who cares about the
if I was on stage, I would say it the way it is. The government, instead of giving $13 billion to Volkswagen for EV, how about put $5 billion into a mine, a gold mine, and extract the gold and pay off the debt so people don't have to pay taxes anymore. It's that simple, okay?
people to work?
It puts people to work. You're not going to, what would we say, deflate the price of gold. What you're doing with the gold is you're paying off your national debt, plain and simple, so that the taxpayers don't get burned the way they are. And that's,
There's another pandemic coming. Everybody be prepared.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's another pandemic coming. Another COVID thing. That's
Yeah,
now.
we can't talk about that on here, but
So,
yeah,
I'm telling you, watch out, people.
we gotta talk in tongues if we're gonna talk like that. I call it the vid or whatever, right?
I know that's all those games.
Yeah,
I'm gonna first say
A little freezing again, but he's still there.
anything. I'm not pretty saying this. Like even I don't remember, man.
yeah. Oh, you won't. They're spineless. I found that a lot of politicians are spineless at the end of the day, right?
We're paying them to do our job. Other countries, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But they obviously screw us over.
Yeah.
Working for themselves.
yeah, yeah.
What they're doing. And it's not only here. Canada right now is the laughing stock of the world. Right now. Because of who we have in mind.
Right. Right. 100%.
And we're all they know it. But I mean, you just read into things. Don't take anything from my mouth or anybody else's mouth. Read it. You'll find out. You'll find out yourself. You know, don't believe me. I mean, until you understand, right?
Yeah, 100%. I'm all about freedom of thought, freedom of speech for sure. Right. The C-18 crap. Okay. I don't get it, and they're trying to shut it down for a reason, right? And mainstream media, they want them to rule because guess what? They're paid off for by who?
Oh yeah. The thing about it, right, is they say, oh, the government made the mainstream media. No, the government did not make the mainstream media. We made the mainstream media.
Right.
It goes through the government. Every money goes through the government and then goes over.
Right.
Right. It goes through the banks. And the bank system is screwed up right now too. There's a lot of things I can get into right now, but I can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So just by wearing this shirt right here, they denied you entry.
Yeah. I couldn't get in. They wouldn't let me in. Huh. That's fine. No.
They didn't give you no static. Go get off the property, or
No, they didn't give me that. They just said you got.
Because they're watching you like a hawk right now, eh?
Oh, yeah, they're watching.
Yeah.
They're all over.
I'm looking right now.
Yeah.
So we got 3 undercovers here, and then we got a tree full of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, if they know something I don't know, then they're pretty smart. But I don't know anything. I'm just the mouth of the South, the guy from around the block that don't know nothing. But I think that's wrong, because you should be able to, right. If I wanted to wear whatever shirt I wanted to wear, I could see if you're going to wear the FU Ford shirt or something. Okay. Right. Right. Or you're going to a Trudeau party and you're going to wear the FU Trudeau party. Obviously, they're not going to let you in. Yeah. So who else is here? Anybody? Well, I seen protesters on the street there about holding signs about healthcare, clawing back on healthcare. Yeah. Yeah. The rest of the world thinks. Yeah, in the eyes of the rest of the world, they all think that our healthcare is spectacular, right? Till you need it.
Yeah, it's not what it's put out for you to lay it out.
Right.
So even on a benefit plan, you still have to pay an outrageous fee. Even on a benefit plan,
Kim Patton, you only live 500 feet from this place, I think you still do, on North Talbot. You should be bringing the kids down here for free food. They won't let you in with this shirt.
even though I RSVP.
Did you? So even though it's free, they're still collecting data on people. So that's the catch-22. Right. I had to give up my name, my address, and everything else in order to get on this side of the fence. And he still did it, and he was denied. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Are they still watching you from behind me? Are they? Houston, there might be a problem here. I don't think there's going to be a problem. If there is, yeah, exactly. Who is? Want to come here? Oh, yeah. So I'm on the Maverick Multimedia Show going live right now. And if you're just tuning in right now, this is Rick, and I spotted Rick, and he's got the Save the Children shirt on, the Convoy 2023, and he was denied entry after giving up his social data in order to get through the gate. And he was denied entry, and there's a lot of police watching this fella, so I'm going to be watching him and watching them. It's not raining here. It is raining, but it's not. I'm underneath the tree, and I'm not getting wet at all. So we're on Rumble Live too, Anasty. We're on Roku Live. If you're just tuning in, Rick Walker, his show is Maverick Multimedia, Freedom Reporters. You can donate to the cause. He has a call-in show, and he's one of a kind. If you don't know who he is, subscribe. He's on YouTube, he's on Rumble, he's on Roku, he's on Twitch, and a number of other ones. You can donate to freedomreporters.com is one of the places you can donate, or you can Rumble rant them, and that money is used for the phone lines so people can call in, right? It's a great show. If you haven't watched it, check it out. Have you ever seen it? Yeah. One 100%.
Like this year, not them being the game for Save the Children, it makes me sick. It really does make me sick. Like,
Especially when it's children themed, right?
now that you know that they're attacking the children.
You want to hear something personal that happened to me last week? I'm in New Brunswick, the Bay of Fundy, and where was it? Hotel Rocks. I go in the bathroom. This little kid comes in. He's about 4 years old by himself. So I come out of the bathroom. I'm looking. I don't see any parents around, right? So I start asking. My son's there and my son-in-law is there. And I point to the kid. Where's the dad? Well, the dad was back somewhere filming or whatever, right, with his back turned. And I just said, you know what? You got to keep your eye on your kids, man. And then there's another group, guy and a girl that said, no, thank you. You know, there are people like you. It's you know, they gave me a pat on the back, but it was the right thing to do. The kid, you know, he's by himself. The dad's back was turned. You just can't do that with your children, people. Okay. Split second, the children's gone. Okay. You know, my good friend Rodney Stafford up in Woodstock. Okay. Tori went missing and she was found murdered. Okay. And it happens more than you think. Abductions, right? So when my kids were growing up, people used to laugh because I used to say I had eyes in the back of my head. And I did. I was like a superhero. Okay. I never kept my eyes off my kids. Once my one daughter got lost at the carnival and she was playing in the clothing section and she hid in the clothing section. And I'll tell you, I don't have anxiety, but it went through the roof. And she was playing a game on us. She was there the whole time. And that feeling as a parent, you don't ever want that feeling. So save the children, watch your children, keep your children safe.
So somebody in the chat is asking if I can explain where this is for people who don't live in this area. Right. This is happening in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. This is right on the Windsor-Detroit border, the Canada-U.S. border, right across the Detroit River from Detroit. 46. And this is happening at the Charo Club. This is Ford Fest, a festival put on by Ontario's Premier tonight, giving away a bunch of free food. So it's a political event, supposedly being paid for by the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party, but somewhat controversial for a variety of reasons.
100%. You know, I was all about the military and standing up for the color green and in our military. I still do. Don't get me wrong. Okay, the real heroes out there. But today, it's bad, boys and girls.
So this gentleman is a supporter of the upcoming Save the Children Convoy 2023, which is supposed to happen sometime next month. No specific date announced yet. We've been talking about that here.
There's a lot of backstabbing going on.
The program.
We're going to beat around the bush when we talk about this, but the chin diapers, you guys know where I'm going with it. Okay, there's a lot of families that split up over it. Okay, in the shots and everything else. A lot of families that split up over it that are still trying to rebuild.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So we got a lot of police watching this fella here because he's got a Save the Children shirt on. So he was denied entry.
I would say that
yes.
People might describe Windsor
Stephanie Jones.
Pretty Americanized.
This is a free event for everyone. What a shame. A lot of people here. Don't get me wrong. If you're having problems trying to feed your family today, get out here and feed them. It's free. I'm not going to knock that. Especially being an advocate for the less fortunate.
Thank you, Leo, for doing
Get down
this.
here and feed your family. It's for free. You can hardly hear Rick. We got the music in the background. I wish he could get on this side of the fence, but I'm telling you, he's got police presence all around him.
Yeah, well, you put that orange shirt on, and you're going to get the attention of authorities.
And I got a trespass, by the way, upside down.
Yeah, police going to watch anybody in an orange shirt, anybody from that Save the Children convoy.
And it's starting to rain, but it's weird. These trees here,
Group, the Freedom
perfect
people
shade,
out there tonight.
and the rain's not even touching me. I did bring an umbrella. I'll be back, Rick. I'll be watching you.
He's speaking to the gentleman just interviewed, not me. So again, Windsor, Ontario, Canada, live with Leo, mouth of the South.
Trees are perfect, eh?
Here, the Premier of Ontario due to arrive shortly. I don't have a specific time. We will be picking up his speech.
Uh-oh, they're moving forward out of the rain.
Assuming he doesn't get rained out. We'll probably move the Premier's speech under the shelter.
Little rain wouldn't hurt. 6:15. 6:15. He will be here.
6:15, folks. So half an hour for the Premier to arrive. Doug Ford. So what do we know? We know that we have Freedom Group supporters down there protesting, getting ready to protest, I guess. Police have a presence, but they're not letting them into the Charles Park tonight.
On the South YouTube tonight for me as I'm doing the Facebook here for Maverick Multimedia, and you see the shirt here that I'm wearing.
We gotta leave those kids alone. Welcome to Porn Fest here in Windsor. Thank you all for coming out.
Awesome. Let's try and get inside here. We're gonna have to get in there.
And you know, Windsor is not normally
I wonder if we have to leave them in there.
a conservative town. This is not friendly political territory for the Premier. Windsor, always been traditionally liberal, New Democrat, NDP, a labor town, an industrial town, an automotive town. Canada's automotive capital for many years. That title may be disputed right now because of Oshawa, but I don't know, Windsor with such a rich history in the automotive industry, also a rich history in labor. Labor-oriented politics.
How you doing?
Mike Akpata.
Staying out of trouble?
Man.
Right. Strange world. All the ABCs are here. Yeah. We got Dave Cassidy here.
Mike Akpata is with police service, or at least he was. I don't know if he still is. Dean's a great guy. Always still is a great guy. I was working in that town when he first been in the police.
Dave Cassidy. You know who I am. Leo. So that's Dave Cassidy, president of the 444 Union.
As I said,
Chrysler.
Labor Town, Windsor, Ontario. I have to say, I love Windsor. Great city. Right right there on the border. I love Detroit. And negative in there. Wrong. It has such character. Challenges for sure, like so many other cities. Man, what a great history. O-Town. Great culture. Detroit Tigers, the Red Wings, Lions. I don't know anything about it.
I'm indoors now.
I certainly appreciate the baseball and the hockey. And you know, you live in Windsor long enough, and you're going to learn to appreciate the value of real average people, real working people.
I love it.
Average Canadians, real Canadians, people who keep things moving, country working. That's what Windsor's all about, man. That's the rich history and labor, innovation, technological innovation. And, you know, it's not that this has anything to do with the Premier, Doug Ford, but, you know, Ford Motor Company, a lot of history there with Windsor. It's the same with Chrysler, and GM has, you know, facilities there too, and all over. And they're building that Atlantis battery factory there now.
You're my wife. He still loves you.
And the Windsor Assembly Facility, home of the minivan. Years ago, they used to produce the Chrysler Cordobas in that factory. And that isn't the radio or the DJ, that's an actual live band, as you just saw. Pretty darn good. It seems to be a band. It looks like they're playing. Yes, they are. Look, live. And I don't think they're lip syncing either. Good band. I wonder if that just Ford's personal band. So the Premier of Ontario due to arrive there. 20 minutes or so. Live with this while we wait for Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, to roll in there and take the stage. Providing this live feed from the Chicharo Club in Windsor, Ontario, right there on the Windsor-Detroit border. Doug Ford likely to face some tough questions if they open him up to the public or to the media for scrum or questions. And there's the free food that the Premier is giving away. Free hot dogs, free hamburgers, french fries, rides for the kids at Ford Fest.
Ron Jones, I'm afraid so.
Doug Ford re-elected after the pandemic kind of went past its peak. I honestly didn't think he would do as well in the election as he did. But he handily won, got himself another majority provincial government in Ontario, coming through the difficult lockdown period. And I honestly thought the public would punish him for it, but they didn't. They rewarded him with another majority provincial government. Tonight we're seeing people from the freedom movement on the outside of the fence not being allowed into this event, even though they said they would turn no one away. They're obviously viewing anyone there tonight from the freedom movement, especially if anyone wearing one of those Save the Children Convoy 2023 orange t-shirts As a possible threat to the premier today, it's possible political activity, I would say, is probably not far from the truth at all. If they present any kind of threat to the premier, that's a whole other question.
Just film it, that's all. Not costing any.
And you can see a CBC television there tonight. Like set up, ready to take in the premier. I don't know if any other media is there or not, but we are. Maverick Multimedia is live on the scene. Thanks tonight to Leo. Doing a great job.
These kids sound pretty good.
Oh, they sound better than good, man. They're hot. I honestly was thinking we were listening to an EQ. Leo panned over and showed us a band. They're wickedly good. Freezing there. We're still hanging in there with Leo. Live coverage from Windsor, Ontario, Chicago Club. They moved the speech inside the pavilion.
Just to show you guys.
Because of rain.
The lineup for food wraps around the whole building. Rain, sleet, snow, or shine. When it comes to free food, everybody wants to dine.
So this
even in the rain.
Look at all the water. So Leo's down there covering his live.
Goes around the building.
And
the pouring rain.
Events just like this one have been held across the province. There's one coming up in London, Ontario. I believe another one coming up in Cambridge, I believe, Waterloo area. And some controversy surrounding this. So yeah, he's in Windsor tonight at the Chicharo Club, the premier.
So if you're just tuning in now, we're at the
freezing
Ford Fest
at the Chicharo
Club. Free food, free pop, free cotton candy. All the kids' rides are rained out. Oh no, there's still kids in there.
On August 20th, the premier will do this all again in London, Ontario. 2 hours up the road.
And this food line's pretty big. So like I said, if you're having problems,
and then I'm sorry, it'll be in Kitchener.
Feeding your family tonight.
Kitchener.
Bring them down. Hot dogs,
11.
hamburgers, French fries, cotton candy, and pop.
Another recreational facility similar to the Chicharo Club. But in Kitchener, Ontario. That's September 11th. They already held an event like this in Scarborough earlier this year. That was last month. And so anyway, you slice it. I mean, this is absolutely a campaign event. This is the premier. Buying votes with hot dogs and hamburgers, essentially, is what this comes down to. And
hello, how are you? What do you think of this? There you go. I have never heard of a politician doing this in Canadian history, period. I'm still waiting for a buck of beer. Hey. Yeah. Thank you.
For those who don't know,
hey, hello there.
Campaigned first
how are you doing?
On a pledge of bringing Ontario.
You want to go report it?
Beer, buck of beer. It was
be up front. What do you want to hear? What do you have?
Kind of a gimmick to get elected.
Because he did make a promise about the carbon taxes, didn't he? Doug Ford? Yeah, cut the carbon tax. Act like Alberta's premier. Good, I want to hear it. I gotta get around.
And again, we're freezing, but still live. We're now coming up on PM 9. That means the premier, in theory, is only about 15 minutes out. Should be arriving shortly. As I say, pretty big crowd there. This is
about 15 minutes. Doug Ford is supposed to take the podium and speak.
This is not really traditionally conservative political territory, not at all. This is a labor town. This is a liberal town. It's not quite often an NDP, Democratic Party town. Not a strong conservative.
At least these kids know real music. Read your comment right now, and you're 100% spot on. At the most, you'll use it as a tax deductible at the end of the year. Yes, Donnie. The green belt, the Auditor General sent out yesterday, I read it yesterday, about the contractors approved for the green belt. Just happen to be all conservative supporters.
So Leo just touching on a few of the issues facing Doug Ford and Ontario.
There's nothing but great people around us. It's like everybody is commenting to the green. Doesn't matter if you're the outcome or you're in the community.
What you're referring to there with the green belt is there is a huge
At least these kids know about real music.
tract of land, about 810,000 hectares of farmland, forest, and wetland. It stretches all the way from Niagara Falls to Peterborough, Ontario, and the government has opened up development there because they want to get more housing built. And so the Auditor General has just issued a report saying that it has found Ontario's decision to open up that protected greenbelt land area was heavily influenced by a small group of developers who now stand to make billions and billions of dollars from the decision. So some people are now hoping they can find a way to block the development. So this could result in as many as 50,000 new homes being built. And we do know that Ontario is facing a housing crisis with an increased number of people becoming homeless, in particular because of rising immigration levels, also because of rising home prices. As the population increases and the supply of housing has not been able to keep up with the population increase, and therefore the increase in demand for housing, the prices of houses have skyrocketed. That combined with national and international inflationary pressures, they've really contributed to a huge spike in housing prices in Ontario. That's why the government is looking for ways to get more housing built in Ontario and other parts of Canada. And we're seeing new arrivals to Canada, some of them going being forced to seek out help from shelters, and an increasing number of them on the streets. And not just new arrivals, but a lot of just people who have been living in Canada for a long time. So we've lost Leo's feed there for the moment, but that's okay. We're going to take a brief break here, and we'll come back and pick up his feed once he gets reestablished. Okay, so stay with me. There's more to come. More live coverage of Ontario Premier Doug Ford at the Ford Fest, Charo Club, Windsor, Ontario, Canada, on the Windsor-Detroit border.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
We will be going back to Windsor and the Chicharo Club in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, live with Leo momentarily. The Premier of Ontario due to arrive there in about 10 minutes or so, where he will be speaking at what they are calling Ford Fest. Doug Ford, Ontario's Premier, has his own festival. Apparently, the cost of this covered by the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party. Not sure if the policing aspect of this is being covered by the party. But Leo's down there to get the lay of the land and get us all the details. And he's live back again now. Before we get into... Hang on, I think the Premier might be arriving now. So let's go back live. Here we go. Yep. Little freezing there again, but Leo's on it. Ontario Premier Doug Ford arriving in Windsor, Ontario. Protesters kept outside the park. Some of them wearing these Save the Children Convoy 2023 orange shirts. Leo having trouble with his feet there. You can see the flashes from snapping their pictures, shooting video. Heavy police presence there tonight. Obviously, some people not that happy with the ruling class. Justin Trudeau and people like the man coming through the crowd right now, Ontario Premier Doug Ford. But hey, when you're giving away free hot dogs and hamburgers, it sort of softens the blow a little bit, I guess, right? So Doug Ford due to take to the podium here momentarily. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you can,
don't worry,
like
he'll be claiming this on his tax return.
Support the channel by donating at freedomreporters.com.
Not yet, he just got in the building, Rhonda.
URL just scrolling across the bottom of the screen right there. freedomreporters.com. Please subscribe over on Rumble. That's what we need to grow the most.
You guys got a good job.
And earlier we saw Leo interviewing that freedom supporter, freedom fighter, who was kept outside the perimeter on the other side of the fencing that they had erected. We saw his orange Save the Children Convoy 2023 orange shirt, and they wouldn't let him in, or any of the other freedom fighters who showed up there tonight, if they were able to identify him. I don't really anticipate, and I'm just guessing, I don't think that Doug Ford will get the storming or the aggressive, anger-fueled heckling that we've seen projected at Prime Minister Justin Trudeau over the last number of weeks. I don't think that will happen here in Windsor, even though this is not strong conservative territory. I don't think it's going to happen here tonight. Not like that. You never know. Because we know there are protesters there, but I think this is going to be a little bit different than what we saw happen to Trudeau. You never know. Leo's feed still freezing up there a bit. That's the Premier right there, front end, like right in the center of your shot. There he is. Interesting, you know, for a conservative, conservatives used to be viewed as the politicians in the party of big business and corporations, in the pocket of big corporate interests. But today, you see the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, wearing an IBEW union shirt. International Brotherhood of Electrical.
Dougie, are you going to claim this on your tax return? You get there you go. Awesome. So when the Premier say we're getting taxed too much, guys, there's the question.
You've got a question in there.
Where's he going to be speaking from? The where microphone? Now this band's rocking.
Honestly, I think the band is the best part of the whole darn thing.
Oh, you got it? Get in there.
Oh,
Get in there.
guy in.
So he got in. He snuck in.
Got him?
With Save the Children shirt. So I'm going to step away from the music so you can hear me. So I did ask Doug Ford the question if he's going to claim this on his tax return, and his response was, we're already paying too much in taxes. Well, you're the Premier. Do something about it. And I'm sitting front row, and I'm going to ask him some more questions. Am I still on Maverick Multimedia Live on Rumble?
Oh, yeah. You are live, Leo.
It's a packed house in the rain. Still a lineup. My guesstimation would be No more than 1,000 people.
Pretty big crowd. In other news, I can tell you a 3-year-old died while on the way to
Amnesty, am I
Chicago.
still on Maverick?
The child was aboard a bus in Asylum.
Okay, so I did get the question. If you guys hear it, I asked Doug Ford if he's going to claim this on his tax return, and his response was, "We're already paying too much in taxes." And he said it with a laugh.
So the child died yesterday. Authorities releasing information about it today.
As a politician, do something about it.
Later on the
because it's getting out of hand, folks.
And we'll get to the most up-to-date information.
And I do have a front row seat in the
Maui
media gallery.
Wildfires.
So hopefully I get to ask him a couple more questions.
But we're sticking with this live feed from Leo from Windsor, Ontario, where the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford,
I don't know what happened.
has
My
now
feed broke
arrived,
up.
and we'll be speaking shortly inside the pavilion. It's raining there, and
But I do know I am on YouTube Live under Mouth of the South. And that sees the man without a plan, the master of all disasters, reporting live for Maverick Multimedia at the Ford Festival in Windsor, Ontario at the Chicharo Club. And it's free food. And like I stated, if you can't feed your family, you can't. Rick Maveick.
yeah, and I'm
that's the way it
surprised
works,
that
Bob.
they finally let that guy with the orange shirt
Like
on
I
that
said,
saved the children.
instead of putting $13 billion in a Volkswagen EV battery plant, put $3 billion into a beautiful gold mine. Take the gold out and pay off the national debt. Pay the Chinese and the Americans in gold. And only mine for the deficit.
I mean, the debt.
And I don't care what you're mining for. It could be diamonds, could be gold, could be uranium, lithium, cobalt. We have it all here. Silver, nickel, and the list goes on and on. Cricket burgers. I like that, Bob.
Yeah, feed those.
Hey,
to the
Ray
Premier.
Kells. Watching from Edmonton, are you? So I am on Rumble Live. I am on YouTube Live. And this guy got kicked out for wearing this shirt, but he made his way in. Did they stop you again? Hey? Oh, you jumped the fence? You're a fence jumper.
So much for security.
I'm all about protecting the children, period. So I do have a front row seat. I got to get up here. The music stopped. Oh. Excuse me.
You're sitting over there. Where?
I want to thank Rick Walker for giving me the opportunity to broadcast live for him. I wish I had better equipment, Rick. Rick's got all the gadgets and gadgets.
No, man, Leo,
Take
you're
that
doing
seat.
great. This is just fine. This is
And you can't
fantastic.
get-
Thank you, Leo, for doing this.
Support. Let's see the shirt. My shirt. How close? And I got a media pass. Woo! Ricky Bobby.
So how close did you get to him?
Well, I asked him the question if he's going to claim this on his tax return, and he laughed. And he said, "We're already paying too much in taxes."
Did he?
Yeah. I want to hear something about the digital ID.
Everybody give me this. Everybody give me this.
I don't know. I don't know what to expect here. Look who's all behind me.
Ladies and gentlemen, hello everybody. Welcome.
And they're behind me.
Windsor, our very first Fort Fest in Windsor. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming out tonight. The premier is just off to the side of the stage here. Can you guys give us a little cheer here so we can hear here in the room?
Thanks, Anasty.
Awesome. Thank you for braving the weather and joining us tonight. It's so wonderful. My name is Lindsay Vanstone. I'm going to be your MC for the evening. And let's take a moment and also thank our amazing, amazing band. Leave Those Kids Alone. They've been entertaining us.
Leave those kids alone.
I think we're going to hear more from them. I'm going to introduce you
No.
to your co-host for Fort Fest Windsor.
These are already taken, eh?
They are great. I've seen them on online. Some of their videos. They're a great band.
We have MVP Anthony Liardi. And right here in Windsor, Tennessee, we have MVP Andrew Dowie.
Live from Windsor, Ontario Premier Doug Ford
Awesome.
about
Well,
to
again,
take
thank
the
you.
podium.
Please stand, remove
But you get the
your hat,
second best.
and we're going to have this wonderful band, Leave Those Kids Alone, join us in singing "O Canada."
Now, I like this song. And he's going to do it. Our home in native land. And all our sons come in with glowing hearts we see. And up we stand on your Good job, kiddo.
Absolutely amazing. Again, one more time for Leave Those Kids Alone. Absolutely amazing. All right, well, we're going a little off script here, but I think it'll be all right. So tonight is a very, very special night because this is our very first Fort Fest right here in Windsor. A few months ago, we said to me, Liz, we got to get Fort Fest on the road this summer, and we are so proud after our successful launch in Windsor tonight for the first time ever. And tonight would not be possible without our local all-stars, so I want to invite them back on stage. Thankfully, they never left. Andrew Dowie, Anthony Liardi, and Trevor Jones, all of your local MPPs. And some other special guests tonight. It wouldn't be possible. Can we please join me in welcoming all of our MPPs from across the province that are here. MPP Wilbuma, Jill Dunlop, John Gallagher Murphy, Todd McCarthy, Ross Romano,
Right there. I got front row.
BJ Ganagasalam, Steve Mackinon, let's give them all a round. Round of applause, guys. Our wonderful team. Problem. All right, so now here at Board Fest, we know that local leadership matters. I want to thank Mayor Drew Dilkins, Deputy Warden Joe Bichetti, Mayor Gary Maxim, and Mayor Drew Dilkins, and Deputy
We're going to
Warden
get an interview with Sherry Bondi, the mayor of Essex, who's a good friend. Her family is a great friend.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. The little rain doesn't hold us down here in Windsor, Essex, does it? No rain holds us back. No traffic holds us back. We're delighted to have the media here from Fort Fest. All of my colleagues over here from City Council here to celebrate as a community. And that's what Fort Fest is all about, is a community coming together to celebrate. But let me tell you, it's even more important for me to be here to celebrate with a person who has helped deliver for this community. Help deliver for Windsor and for Essex. And when someone said, you know what, we're going to widen Highway 3, Doug Ford said we're going to get it done. And Highway 3 is on the way.
That he did.
When we all collectively sat around the table with the premier and we said, we've got to get traction on this new hospital in Windsor, Essex, Doug Ford got it done. When we said, hey, we're building this little bridge, Canada's largest infrastructure, Doug Ford said we're going to open up County Road 42, Lozon, and 401. Thank you. And you may all have heard about this little battery factory in our community.
Not good.
And folks, you may have heard how it went sideways for about 7 weeks. And let me tell you, that 7 weeks was tough.
He's talking about the
7 weeks
Stellantis
for me,
electric
for every
vehicle
single
battery
person
plant.
who's here today, because you know how important this project is for the
The government's investing
future of our
billions of
community.
dollars in
And
it.
when this went sideways, he's the first person I called, and he said, don't worry, I have Windsor Essex back. He is the reason that project is back on track. It's Doug Ford, his ministers who are here, and the entire team of leadership that helped deliver. So folks, I am delighted.
Well, welcome all to the Chicharo Club. As Deputy Warden for Essex County, I am privileged to stand side by side with my good friend Mayor Dilkins to bring greetings on behalf of Warden Hilda McDonald and the County of Essex. I would like to extend warm greetings to everyone, including all of our elected officials, locally and my colleagues on County Council who have joined us tonight.
Sorry about the choppy
Witnessing
internet.
firsthand a large number of people who have come out this evening is a testament to all of the hard work our local leaders are doing for Windsor, Essex, Pensacola, so much. Thank you, MPP Downey, MPP Liardi, and MPP Jones, for your ongoing support and community service you do day in and day out to improve the lives of our citizens. Working collaboratively with our provincial government and the City of Windsor has been one of our goals as a county, which has created a new, strong partnership at all levels, delivering results to the Windsor-Essex region. Thank you to the Chicharo Club for hosting us at your beautiful facility, and kudos to the Chicharo Board of Directors and staff for the great fees and the Fort Fest team for taking time to come to Windsor, Essex. It shows your true commitment and support for the region today and beyond. Let's keep Windsor, Essex strong. Thank you.
I'll come and see you guys. I'll get an interview with you.
Yeah, when you finish this, we'll do all that.
I want to get Sherry Bondi, the mayor of Essex, because I think she might be the next premier of
All
Ontario.
right, ladies and gentlemen.
She plays her cards very close.
Script here. I'm going to now turn it over to your local MVP so they can introduce the man we all want to see. But please get another cheer for Premier Ford, please.
Again, I'm sorry about the sporadic internet connection. Just a technical glitch. This is live from Windsor, Ontario. Ontario's premier about to take to the podium. And he might face some tough questions tonight. Right now we're getting these preliminary speeches.
You know what? I'm not the premier, although often I wish I could deliver a fraction of what he's delivering. My name's Andrew Dowie, and maybe go into Tecumseh. I want to thank Peter Dilkins, Deputy Gordon Getty, and the incredible town of Tecumseh, and mere steps away from the city of Windsor. Absolutely, this is the greatest place to live. I'm so proud to represent it. So proud to live in and represent this beautiful riding. And having Windsor, Essex. I served on Tecumseh Town Council. My mantra as a councillor was always to work as hard as possible for my residents at the local level, together with my colleagues. And I want to say thank you to each of the municipal officials that I had the privilege to serve with. We're all here today.
Sorry about that freezing internet.
Tony Joby, who represents this ward that we're in right now. Thank you, Tony, for being here. Brian Houston from Ward 4. Rick Tony wanted to be here, but he just couldn't make it. But that was the very last thing.
Right, Brian. Sherry Bondi of Essex. And if you look at her social media and what she does on the side for free, you'll be alarmed.
Fred Francis, Ronaldo Agostino, Mark McKenzie, Ed Sleeman, Jim Morrison, as well as Mayor Dilkins. I'm so happy to have you, to be able to work with each and every day.
And again, the internet freezing up. The connection has deteriorated there on Lee. We got cut right off, but he's back.
And I think if she threw her hat in,
I want to say to everyone here,
into provincial politics, she'll do very well.
I never forget each and every day that you chose me to serve as your voice in government and serve as your MPP for the next 3 years. Proud to serve you. Having a strong voice in government matters. And you know what? I gotta give special thanks to Mayor McNamara for showing me the ropes on how to be an effective politician, as well as my council colleagues. For too long, our community was left behind. But now we're coming back. We're building the brand new Windsor Acute Care Regional Hospital.
And again, freezing up. I hope that the internet holds for the moment we've all been waiting for, which is the speech by the premier. If we get disconnected, I'm sure Leo will reconnect, maybe with a better connection. We're keenly interested in hearing what the premier has to say tonight, because there are so many issues that he will be dealing with that affect not just the people of Windsor, not just the people of Ontario, but really the
better care.
People in Canada and the United States, especially economic issues, automotive issues.
Outstanding highway.
We were referring to that big electric vehicle battery factory that they are
20 years
building in
later.
Windsor for Stellantis. And we lost that feed altogether, so he'll need to get reestablished again. My guess is he will come back stronger with a better internet connection, and we do have a moment here for him to get himself set back up. So let's take a little break, and while Leo gets his internet connection fixed up there, I will return right after this.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Fear not the storm, for truth is on our side. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So yes, many questions that could be asked of the Premier tonight on a variety of issues, environmental issues, issues facing the economy, provincial government and federal government investments in infrastructure and in various industries, especially industries like the automotive industry, given that he's in Windsor tonight, one of the leading automotive centers in the world and in North America, a lot of manufacturing there, huge trade takes place every day across the Ambassador Bridge, linking Windsor and Detroit. So there are international issues there, issues facing Canada and the United States, issues facing, even more specifically, Ontario and the state of Michigan, which is connected directly to Ontario by that bridge. And the automotive industry over there in Detroit, Michigan, and Windsor, a long, long history. And as the industry transitions back to or into electric vehicles, a lot to take in. And we have a labor leader now speaking live at the Chicharo Club in Windsor. Leo bringing us the feed live. Let's go there.
For Essex, Anthony Liardi, and MVP for Chatham, Kent, Leamington, Trevor Jones. My friend, his son, coming out. It's so great to come together to celebrate our region, Windsor, Essex.
And still choppy internet, but at least we've got a feed. And I think we're about to get the Premier himself, I think, right now. Hopefully the feed holds for us.
Have the pleasure. Now is the moment you've all been waiting for. Let's get a big sport fest. Windsor welcome to our leader, our Premier, Doug Ford.
This is fantastic. I have to tell you, I love Windsor, Essex. I love the people here. And I'm so excited. We're having the first Sport Fest, and hopefully the rain's going to clear up a little bit until I can bring this air.
And it'll come back. It'll come back.
You're right. Dave, thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and he's right. I talked to him. But 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, give a little midnight story, talk about how we're going to improve Windsor. And I want to thank Anthony, Trevor, and Andrew, our local representatives, for that introduction. I want to thank our great union members. They're absolutely fantastic. As I told them, I'll always have your backs all the time. And Carl, BC, I want to thank the carpenters, They put on an amazing program for the students, and they learn the credit and earn the trade. And my union, everyone else that's here from the union, I have your backs. I'll always have your backs. I need to give a special shout out to Lana Kane, the National President Uniform, Lana and their crew from Amherstburg. So thank you, and their Bonnie as well.
Yeah, what about Bonnie?
My friends, during the last campaign, I asked each and every one of you to give us someone to have a voice down at Queen's Park, because we know.
And waiting for the signal to come back. Very sorry about the connection. The weather may be having some impact on this. Right in the middle of the speech, of course.
Over decade after decade, this area was possible. Stellantis, we worked our back off, and I got to give everyone credit. The municipalities, great union representatives. That's how you get things done in Essex by working together every single day. And we're gonna. By the way, I'll let you know a secret. There's a few more here next thing, Highway 3, making sure people get home safely. Over 17,000 people every day travel on Highway 3. I do know that's a credit for Lazard Park. Again, the guy right behind me, the mayor, he sat down.
And again, sorry about the internet. He did make reference to the government efforts to save that Windsor battery plant. It was in jeopardy. The deal seemed to be falling apart. I think
he's a big dude. He had me on the ground, and I pleaded for mercy until I got that.
Stellantis said the government was not living up to its end of the bargain. That came after the government came along and gave, I think it was $13 billion to Volkswagen to build a similar kind of facility, only even larger, just up the road.
A parkway along the Highway 401
in St. Thomas. I think they went to the government with their hands out saying, hey, if you're going to give that much money to one of our competitors, we want more too. But we never really got the full story on what the problem was or what the solution was. We do know that billions of dollars are being invested in both battery plants. The Windsor facility, not quite as big as the one in St. Thomas. And we lost the feed again. So let me just remove this while Leo gets reestablished again. And I'm very sorry about that, but I'm sure he will be back in just a moment. Stay with me. We'll be right back after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality.
Up for an hour and a half.
Maverick News.
We have had a great
Maverick
relationship
News.
since that day. We speak almost every single week,
Defending free
usually
speech,
about
free
11:30,
speech.
12 o'clock at night.
Donate
But we do.
at
And I can tell you,
freedomreporters.com.
Premier,
Do it
without
now.
you,
tomorrow.
Those 2,500
maybe
new
tomorrow.
workers at that battery plant wouldn't have
Maverick
happened.
News.
And I can't thank you enough for that.
The world is
I
watching.
appreciate everything you have done in the relationship with. So for the building trades, thank you.
Okay, we've got the feed
Hey, sorry,
back.
he's got my back.
Here's
There we
Leo
go.
live,
You heard it,
Premier
Premier.
Ontario.
Okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to I'm not sure. Actually, yes. I need to call up two MPPs, my MPP from Essex, Anthony Liardi.
Let me just check this. Hang on. No, this is not live. This is not live. Let me re-cue this. Hopefully he gets that feedback up. Nope. Nope. Kept freezing up. Just waiting for Leo to get reestablished there. Where the Premier of Ontario is speaking live now at the Chicharo Club. We've been following this Ford Fest tonight, live from the beginning. It started at 5 p.m. The Premier finally arrived. We had the live feed coming out with Leo, Mouth of the South, bringing us coverage. But the feed has been cut, strangely enough. Just as things kind of got rocking and rolling down there. And I'm not sure what the problem is, other than to say that the internet is has been choppy. Okay, let's see here. It's live now on YouTube. So let's pick up another different feed over here. I think this is live. I don't think it's live. Hang on. Let me just rejig this. No. It is live, but this feed is not inside the pavilion. No, it's not live. I'm sorry. We still don't have a live feed out. Do not have a live feed out of there. I'm sure Leo will just hit the live button again and we'll come back in just a second. Just waiting for him to hopefully get reestablished, but something's going on with the signal for the internet. He's obviously on data running live out of there, but something has gone wrong. Yep, this is maybe it is live. I maybe got a different one here. Hang on a second. Doesn't look like it's live to me. No. Maybe I might have it here. Hang on. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. All right, we can pick the speech up right here. All right, there's a little bit of lag here, but we've got the speech now. So just a different angle. This is what you want to be seeing. Here we go. And just bring this forward just a touch. Here we go. All right, here's the Premier's speech. This is what you wanted to see.
Hopefully the rain's gonna clear up a little bit so I can bring the mayor one of those amusement rides there. But you're right, Dave, thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and he's right. I talked to him about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Give him a little bit nice story, talk about how we're gonna improve Windsor. And I want to thank Anthony, Trevor, and Andrew, local representatives, that introduction. I want to thank our great union members. They're absolutely fantastic. As I told them, I'll always have your backs all the time. And Carl, just for you, buddy, I wore this shirt. IDW 773 and Chris Millwright, Regional Council of Ontario, Chris McCormick, UBC. I want to thank the Carpenters. They put on an amazing program for the students, and they can earn a credit and earn a trade. And my union, everyone else that's here from the union, I have your backs. I'll always have your backs. I need to give a special shout out to Lana Payne, the National President Unifor. Lana and Dave worked day in and day out to get this deal non-stop. There's another person that worked very, very hard, and that is my friend right behind me, Mayor Dilkins. Thank you for everything. Mayor McNamara, along with Deputy Warden Joe Battetti, you just heard from Joe, and the Tecumseh Mayor, as I mentioned, Mayor McNamara, and Mayor Prue from Amherstburg. So thank you, and Mayor Bonnie as well from the town of Alexis. My friends, during the last campaign, I asked each and every one of you to give us someone to have a voice down at Queen's Park, because we know over decade after decade, this area was ignored. And thank you for giving us 3 representatives to represent Windsor Essex. As you heard of Mayor, it's amazing what happens when you have representation. What happens is a new hospital, multi-billion-dollar hospital, state-of-the-art. And along with that, you know, I always say about Stellantis, we worked our back off, and I gotta give everyone credit. The municipalities all pitched in, along with the federal government, along with the provincial government, along with our great union representatives. That's how you get things done in Windsor Essex. We're working together every single day, and we're gonna, by the way, I'll let you in on a secret. There's a few more $1 billion of investment coming down to Windsor. And then you're mentioning Highway 3, making sure people get home safely. Over 17,000 people every day travel on Highway 3. And you don't get some credit for Ozark Parkway. Again, the guy right behind me, the mayor, he sat down. He's a big dude. He had me on the ground, and I pleaded for mercy until I got back to the parkway along the Highway 401. Folks, we're fortunate here. We're blessed here. We're going to make sure when we bring these great paying jobs, we need affordable, attainable housing. We have to make sure that we don't have these interest rates go up anymore because they're killing people, these high interest rates. We're going to continue working with the municipalities, with the auto sector, with everyone that's involved in municipalities. We will continue having Windsor Essex booming. This will be, I'm telling you, this is like a Canada right now, coming down here. We're going to make it the best place to live, work, and play. Thank you. Let's get out there and have some fun and enjoy. I appreciate your support. God bless the people of Windsor Essex. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, speaking at Ford Fest in Windsor. And focusing on infrastructure investments and the provincial government efforts along with the federal government to save the construction of that Stellantis electric battery plant. That was the purpose of his speech at the Charo Club in Windsor tonight. Now, we probably will be going back there live in a moment with Leo, because he is looking to get an interview separate and apart from the speech. So I know he's working the crowd right now and is expected to come back on live there momentarily. We got the secondary camera angle with a different feed coming out of the Chicharo Club. I'm sorry about the choppy internet, but you did get the full speech there. And I can tell you that, for those of you who are maybe not familiar, the Stellantis LG Energy Solution battery plant, that deal just about fell apart. It was kind of on the rocks there for a few weeks. The company saying the government was really not living up to its end of the bargain. But back in early July, they managed to strike a new binding agreement that involved the federal government of Canada, the provincial government of Ontario as well, and Stellantis, along with LG Energy. So this facility is going to be called Next Star. And a lot of the details really have never fully been released on this, but the two companies said in a statement that they have resumed building the plant. And a big part of this agreement was sort of holding the government's feet to the fire and saying to them, you need to step up and sweeten the pot a little bit for us, so that the deal we get here is in line with what the Biden administration would be offering us if we went across the border into the US and received government incentive money over there under the Inflation Reduction Act. So through long negotiation and some nail biting, the deal was saved. So this is a $5 billion plant. It was first announced back in 2022. Ottawa and the province of Ontario are going to combine $500 million, $1 billion themselves, and invest $500 million each toward the construction costs, looking at creation of about 2,500 jobs. But that is still a lot of money. Now, see, then in last March, the federal government struck a deal with Volkswagen to set up a $15 billion deal with Volkswagen up the road about 2 hours in the community of St. Thomas, also building a battery plant up there. So I think that also played a role in all of this. And so they ended up back at the negotiating table. Construction came to an end, or stopped. Stellantis said they were going to pull out, but with that threat hanging over the government's head, they stepped up and gave the company pretty much what they wanted. Whatever the details of that are, we don't have all the details, I don't think, at this point. But of course, with that much money being dangled in front of the local government and the people of the community, everybody's like cheering right now, keeping in mind, though, that this is all taxpayer dollars that are going to be dumped into this facility. And at some point, some way, somehow, it has to pay off. Whether we will see the fruits of this, I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see how things go with the EV revolution, as they're calling it in the auto industry. Today, I saw a story of a man who bought a Ford electric pickup. He took his family on a vacation. He was very excited to have it. Let me see if I can find you that story. Anyway, he had a lot of trouble. He got partway to his destination and got only about 15% charge left. Tried to find a charging station, went to one. It was not functioning properly. Went to another one, tried to find another one. Well, he was on the road and it was a long trip. He was heading down into the US. And the second charging station also didn't work. He was running out of power. He had to call a tow truck. He had it towed to a dealership, left it there. Ended up renting a gasoline powered vehicle to complete his trip and came back, called mainstream media, CBC. They did a story about it, surprisingly enough. But of course, what they also did is to balance it off, they went and found somebody else who loves their electric vehicle to give that perspective on the story as well. But I can tell you that if you have an electric car or truck, it is something that forces you to change your lifestyle, change the way you plan your trips. And as we just see in this story tonight, this guy got stranded. So yeah, here it is right here. This is the story. Family ditches electric truck on drive from Winnipeg to Chicago after charging troubles. Here, I'll show you the CBC piece about it. It's online. You can go check that out if you're so inclined. I am surprised to see that the story was even done because mainstream media is, pretty much on board and promoting the EV revolution. I see sort of both sides of it. I'm still not sold on electric vehicles, even though it is, I think, something that's inevitable simply because the government is pushing it so hard. So here's this story. Family ditches electric truck on drive from Winnipeg to Chicago after charging troubles. So this guy's name is Dalbir Bala, about a 2023 Ford F-150 Lightning. I've driven an electric Ford F-150, fast, seemed to have pretty good range. It's supposed to have 500 kilometers of range. And I don't think that was the issue. It was just that he couldn't find functional charging stations on his trip. The truck cost him $115,000. $115,000. Spent an additional $16,000 installing chargers at his home and his trucking business. And he had to upgrade his residential electric panel in order to handle it because, of course, you need I guess probably at least 220, not just 110 for a faster charge. So there they are. They're heading down there to Chicago. He's actually on his way to Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin or something, and Chicago for business. So it was fully charged when he left. Lives in Winnipeg. And then he's tried to stop at a level 3 charging station. With those charging stations, you can go from, almost dead to 80%, usually within about today, half an hour, 45 minutes will give you an 80% charge. The last 20% takes a little bit longer to charge. But to get up to 80, about half an hour, 45 minutes to be sort of realistic. So he had only 15 kilometers remaining on his battery. I thought it was 15%, but it was actually 15 kilometers. That's all the range that he had left. So that was at the second level 3 charger that he found, and it wasn't functional either. So he had to have it towed off to the dealership, and he left it. Went and rented a regular internal combustion engine powered vehicle to complete his trip. It's not really clear why he couldn't get a charge, but it didn't work. And apparently he phoned the toll-free number. You know that on those charging stations, they always have a number to call if you have an emergency or a problem or a question. And I guess he phoned and he says he couldn't get anybody on the line. So he's not happy. He had to abandon his EV on the road during his trip. Got stuck. That's a lot of money for a truck too, man. But trucks are so crazy expensive. Keep in mind too that all these electric vehicles, they are subsidized at every level of production and consumption. Government has their fingers all over this, at every level. They dump government money into everything, every aspect of it, right down to the charging. There's government money subsidies coming in to, for charging vehicles. It isn't just a straight up, it's just not the free market. The government is pushing this stuff. And then I said yesterday or the day before, Ford is on track to lose $4.5 billion this fiscal year through its electric vehicle division. This also, in spite of all the government grants, subsidies, tax breaks that they're throwing at the automakers to retool and embrace this electric vehicle revolution. They're losing money on every EV they sell. And they're facing this month, downward pressure on pricing. They've had to drop their prices because of increasing competition in the market, in the EV class of vehicles, because more companies are producing them now. Why is that happening? Because the federal, provincial, state governments in Canada and the US, they're throwing subsidies, grants, tax breaks at all the automakers. And in fact, if they want to stay in business, they will have to produce EVs, electric vehicles, because if they don't get the money. And if they don't take the money, the other guys will. And that will give the other companies an advantage over them. Now, Toyota has not embraced the EV revolution as aggressively or with as much enthusiasm. So right now, you can get this new Prius coming out in 2023, but it's a hybrid. And I think they only have one actual electric vehicle in their entire vehicle lineup, but their new CEO is pledging to accelerate now even Toyota's commitment and production of electric vehicles to bring the company back up to speed and more in line with what other companies are doing. Other automotive companies like Kia, Hyundai, Ford, General Motors, Nissan with the Leaf, they made a lot of progress with the Leaf in that market segment. But all these companies, they're all in it. Even supercar companies like Lamborghini, they're going all electric. On that front, you can sort of understand why they're embracing electric vehicle technology, because it's really fast. Really, really fast. Instant acceleration. So there's the positive end of it. And I can tell you, I have an EV sitting in the driveway right now that I have the privilege of test driving, a Kia Ioniq 6, and it is lightning fast, very stylish. It looks like a concept car come to life. So it's very cool. But I have a lot of concerns still about what's going on with the EV revolution. Environmental concerns. Where is all this lithium and cobalt coming from? Is it being mined in an environmentally friendly way, as they would like us to believe? I don't necessarily think so. Is it being extracted ethically? Are the people providing the labor being treated in an ethical and fair way? I'm not so sure that that's the case. And I think that maybe some kids are being used in some countries to extract the cobalt, as we've reported here. So that's a big issue. And then what about all the recycling of these batteries? And the weight alone of these electric vehicles is something to be concerned about, because the weight makes them less efficient. You do burn a lot of electricity to haul that weight around and to get the performance that they provide. And also, it's a safety concern because the SUV that I had a couple of weeks ago weighs more than a 1957 Cadillac. Now, if you get into an accident with an electric vehicle that weighs that much and you're driving, say, a compact car, the kinetic force, the laws of physics dictate that the heavier vehicle is going to cream the smaller one. It's going to turn that compact internal combustion engine powered car, which probably weighs half as much, to dust. It'll just shred it. So I know that they are looking at that issue because they carry so much mass, and they are conducting studies and crash tests to determine what kind of new safety issues these electric vehicles pose on highways. These are all really serious concerns. I think, again, an unintended consequence of a government action forcing the adoption of new technology in the automotive sphere. And a lot of tax money going into all of this, your money, our money, being handed over to big companies, international corporations. These auto companies are no longer just North American based. They're world companies. They are global in scope. The auto industry is now a global industry. Ford, GM, Chrysler, yeah, people think of those as being North American, but they really aren't anymore. In fact, General Motors today is really focused more on the market in China than they are the market in North America. That's where they see growth. That's where they're focused. That's where they're investing even more than they are in North America. Everything has changed. And then you have this Vietnamese company, VinFast. They've come onto the market as well, onto the scene, and they're producing electric vehicles. It's not as simple as these politicians would have you believe. So we better cross our fingers and hope they get it right. I really hope they do, because so much is riding on this, people's futures. The future of our children and our grandchildren, future generations will either reap the benefits or pay the price. We're at a crossroads here, and I hope they've chosen the right path. Because if they haven't, we're going to be in for a heap of pain, because we're going to have to pay for all of this debt that will be racked up as these companies embark on this new journey, this new industrial journey. This is not the same kind of industrial revolution that we saw with Henry Ford and Chevrolet and Walter P. Chrysler. And, back at the dawn of the industrial age, there were hundreds, well over 100 actual auto companies functioning in North America at the time, and only the strongest survived. But a lot of that, most of it, it was pretty much market driven, free market driven. Henry Ford with his developments on the assembly line. What's going on today, though? It's a totally different thing. This is all being centrally planned. More than that, not just centrally planned, globally planned. And it is a global, public, private, corporate initiative. It is global economic fascism by definition. That's what we are seeing, because it's not just happening in North America, it's happening around the world, where the government is just dumping gobs of money into this. They're throwing all of this money into this. They're rolling the dice. Our futures hang in the balance. The fate, I think, of the Western economy in many respects. And not just that, the economy in general hangs in the balance, because we are seeing that here in the West, everything is, focused on, and I would say, I hate to even use this word, but it's true. It's capitalism. And when I say capitalism, I don't mean free market, which is what I believe in. This is what I advocate for, is more and more free market and less government intervention. But what we're seeing on a global scale is capitalism, where our governments simply print more capital, that being money, in order to prop up the economy. The result is inflation. So as they find that they can't actually pay for things or pay other countries for the debt that we have imposed upon ourselves through massive consumption and a reduction in production, because we've outsourced and shipped all of our jobs overseas to other countries where labor costs and production costs are lower, and even environmental standards are lower, so that these big companies can profit more by producing overseas and then shipping consumer goods back here, where politicians have made these empty, false, unsustainable promises to people where they say, you can have all this free stuff, we'll put you all on welfare, or we'll prop up your pensions, or we'll do this, or we'll throw money at that. You can have free this and free that. And yeah, it's free for a while as they keep racking up debt on the credit card. But then as they can't pay for stuff because it's not really sustainable, because there's not a corresponding increase in production, they end up printing more money to pay off the debt that they've incurred. And so the foreign governments that actually end up getting the money to pay for, like, stuff that we get from China, all the plastic crap that we get them to produce and ship over here, and not just the plastic crap, but our auto parts, and honestly, even some of our food now. A lot of our food comes from China, processed there, consumed over here. How do they pay for it? They just print more money. That's capitalism. And the people with money at the top, they tend to get richer from a system like that. But the middle class, the poor, ends up paying. How? Through inflation, because as they print more and more money, costs go through the roof. And that's what we're seeing happen right now. And everything was amplified and accelerated during the pandemic, when all of the lockdowns happened and production pretty much ground to a halt. We ended up with supply chain issues, many of which persist today. The economy is not in the best of shape. And then you have all this inflation. And what does the Biden administration do? They come out with the Inflation Reduction Act, which does nothing to reduce inflation. In fact, it makes inflation worse, because what they've done is they've just continued with the big empty promise of free stuff. And they just keep on promising to give away more and more and more free money. And in Canada, with inflation, the way that they've decided to combat it is not through austerity, but is to, again, just give away more free money. Oh, you can't afford your groceries? We'll give you a grocery rebate. And that in itself then becomes a trap for people, which people don't even understand or realize that it's a trap. Because when the government gives you something, man, that's how they own you. They trap you with it. We'll give you free health care. Oh, that sounds great. Okay, so we have free health care, but there are rules in place. You're not allowed to avail yourself of any kind of private health care now. It's public health care or nothing. There's only one system, because they sit there and they say, because of, their socialist ethic, that everybody has to be treated the same. So you have to get in line, wait for your treatment, and you can't jump the queue. And the rich are not supposed to be able to access care any more readily than the poor. So everybody's supposed to get the same. So they have to ration the care because demand goes up, because it's all supposed to be free. So you get less quantity, less quality. Everybody lines up for it. But more importantly than that, you don't have choice. You're not even allowed to jump the queue within the country. And if you're poor or middle class, you can't leave the country, because you can't afford healthcare any other way. And you don't have enough money because they've taxed you so heavily to try to pay for a lot of all the free stuff that they're really paying for with your tax dollars and with more debt. You don't have a choice. And when you don't have a choice, and then they come along and they say, you got to get a thing in the arm. And if you don't get a thing in the arm, we're not going to give you a heart transplant. you're stuck because you're not allowed to get a heart transplant from a private clinic or a private hospital. You can't buy it. So they basically say thing in the arm or no heart transplant, thing in the arm or you die. And that is actually going on today. That's the trap. That's the socialist trap. The free stuff is the trap. And it's not free stuff at all. It's your tax money that they took from you anyway to pay for it. And they're taxing into the future with additional debt and inflation right now, which diminishes the value of all the money that you have. The more money you have saved up, the more responsible you were, the more you're penalized, because as the inflation goes up, the value of the money you've saved goes down. So you think that, you were working for $20 an hour at a factory when you were working heading into your retirement. And in reality, because of the inflation later, now, what you were working for was really about $15 or $10 an hour in real terms. And only the interest on your capital, because you're a capitalist too, when you take your money and you invest it into your RSP, your retirement savings plan, your stocks, whatever you're invested in, your mutual funds as part of your retirement plan, you're engaging in capitalism because you're using money to simply make money by investing it. So you're offsetting some of that inflation, hopefully with a higher interest rate or a rate of return on your investment than the inflation rate itself. But when the inflation over a few years hits the levels that we've seen, it just eats all of that up anyway. So if you're on a fixed income today, you've seen a dramatic decrease in your purchasing power and the quality of your life, your standard of living heading into the final years of your life, especially for seniors. It's not a good situation. And that's where we're at. And that's what Doug Ford really should have been held accountable for tonight. And I want to hear from him that, oh no, this is a sure thing, these battery plants and all these billions of dollars that we're investing into these industries. And it isn't just the auto industry. It's all kinds of industries that they're trying to go green with because it's the trend. It's the way things are going. I saw a company listed 3 weeks ago. I came across information about a company in Canada that received a massive federal government grant to develop online streaming technology, like the technology we're using here right now. And it was a massive grant, as though they were going to be doing cutting edge stuff. And I thought to myself, this is just payola. This is just political patronage of some kind, because this is just the federal government, the liberals, lining the pockets of somebody who's a political friend of theirs. There's no way that particular grant, in my estimation, in my view, was warranted, because as I was reading through the entire thing, I was going to show it to people here on the program that night, and I don't have it queued up here right now, but it was very clear to me that this company was not as cutting edge as they were making it out to be in this public statement about this federal government investment that they were making in this technology company. Because really what it was about live streaming video for sporting events, mostly. That's what it was. Well, we just did it tonight, didn't we? Yes, we did. With Leo live from Windsor, Chicharo Club. Chicharo Club with the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford. He went live, and we didn't get, millions of dollars in grants from anybody, let alone the federal or provincial governments. All we have is you guys. You guys are the ones who keep us functional here, which brings me around to this. Quite frankly, we really need your support tonight. We're not, everybody is out there with their hands out. Everybody is asking for your support. So many people asking for money. I totally get it. And times are tight for a lot of people. And if you can't afford it, I don't want you to donate, because I don't want anybody to stress themselves out like that. But if you have the means and you like what we do and you like, the service, if you find value in what we're doing here, then yeah, we absolutely need your help. Quite honestly, we don't have enough money tonight to recharge the phone system for the calling portion of the show. We're down to the last few dollars in there, and we haven't generated enough in donations even to cover that cost. So that's the reality of it. And if you guys want this show to continue in the form that it is taken, then we need some people to step up to the plate and help provide support so we can cover the costs here. We've had some donations over the past month, but not many. And you can see, I mean, some of the stuff is public. Some of the donations, you can see what we're getting actually publicly. It's not much. And I can understand why when you have other people out there who have expressed a need. You know, some people looking for $150,000 to cover legal bills, and Rebel News asking for donations all the time and getting, big dollars coming in, and all these other media outlets as well. No, I don't need to get rich here. I don't need to make any money actually, so much off this, but we have to cover the bills. So we need your help because we get nothing from the government. And now, we've been totally demonetized off YouTube. That was helping a little bit. Not that we made much there anyway. And now we're being crushed with censorship. Big issues, man. Big problems. Leo should be back online here in probably about 15 or 20 minutes with another live feed interview from the Chicharo Club. That's the indication that I'm getting from him. So we'll keep an eye open for his feed to start coming in here. And again, yeah, you can donate at freedomreporters.com. You can see the website address to click on there, freedomreporters.com, on the scrolling ticker on the bottom of the screen, and help us cover our expenses, get that phone system rejuvenated so that we can continue to give you guys a voice here on the Maverick News channel. Let's take another brief break and we'll come back and cover some of the other news of the day. I'll give you the latest on that child who passed away, died on an asylum seekers bus that was on its way to Chicago. Terrible story. I'll tell you as much as I know when we return.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so what can we tell you about this this child's death? Well, apparently this happened on a bus filled with asylum seekers. An investigation is underway into this death. It involves a 3-year-old child. And again, this was a bus full of asylum seekers. The Illinois Department of Public Health has confirmed now that it happened yesterday while the bus was heading to the Chicago area. So a Brownsville city spokesperson says that the bus originated in Brownsville, Texas. And so authorities on both ends and both cities are working together on this investigation. They say they are trying to come up with some answers. They still don't, well, there's no word, I guess, at this point. I don't know if they know. If they do know, they're not saying how this child died. No word on that at this point, but when we find out, if we can get more information, we'll share it with you. I doubt we will get any more information on this tonight, but maybe in the next day or two, we'll learn more. I expect we probably will. And of course, this issue being front and center, the welfare of children, migrant children who are brought to the United States and Canada, sometimes by human trafficking rings, human trafficking cartels, the conditions that they face, the dangers that they face, often during their journey to get to the US or Canada are horrific, quite often, extremely dangerous. Many people die. But to have a child die on a bus in the United States after getting that far, a lot of questions. What the heck is going on? You know? It's a funny thing, too. It's not a funny thing, but it's an odd thing. When I think back, you know, you see all this talk about save the children, save the children. And it was an issue even when Donald Trump was first running for president. And you remember when they were accusing him of keeping the kids in cages and so on? You remember that? And now it's Trump that is, you know, a lot of that seemed so bogus at the time. And it was pointed out that Obama had these detention centers, if you will, set up on the border. And accusations on both sides flying about, you know, how children were being treated at the border. Now the whole issue has flared up and has reached a new fever pitch. And even the documentary we showed you the other night with RFK Jr. talking about this very issue, indicating in that documentary that some 85,000 children cross the border, I think on an annual basis, from Mexico into the United States. The people crossing actually come from countries all around the world, but enter quite often illegally over the US-Mexico border, and 85,000 children a year are still unaccounted for. Now, I found that the documentary that RFK Jr. did seemed to kind of really nail the issue in a very realistic way, and in a way that I think was respectful. And it showed that he was, I think, you know, connected with the people facing the issue on a human level, and the people, and when I say that, I mean the professionals who are there to provide support for the children in different facilities. And I think he was also showing that he was connecting with the people trying to get into the country on a human level as well, meeting with them face to face, and his interactions being captured by the video crew that produced the documentary for him on his behalf. It was a campaign project, really, but that's fair enough. But when I watched it, it did seem like there was some authenticity to it. It felt genuine, seemed genuine, didn't feel staged. It felt like they were really documenting his trip to the border in a realistic way. Where some of the other politicians, they either, like Biden, he's kind of shied away from it. They've tried to downplay the whole issue. Him and Kamala Harris. And Trump, you know, in true Trump fashion, there seems to be, I don't know, some you know, he's embracing the issue, but approaching it in his own style, with his own style, and surrounding himself with different players, being the producer of the Sound of Freedom movie, and the you know, the guy who wanted to make a reality TV series out of saving the children. Didn't get that from RFK Jr. It just a different kind of approach, you know? And so you can put whatever amount of weight you want behind either politician or either initiative, and you can look what other politicians are doing as well. But the issue really coming, to the surface again in a really big way now. But I think it's also pretty clear that the politicians are making use of that issue in various ways because they're politicians. I'm always skeptical because politicians tend to be self-serving. That is something that I was taught and learned and experienced firsthand, even from the earliest days of being a cub reporter. So I'm always skeptical of politicians of any stripe at any level, regardless of who they are, how genuine they may seem to be. And especially on an issue like this. Here we are tonight, 3-year-old child, fallen victim. Horrific. How sad. 3 years old. Made it all the way to the promised land, the land of the free. Well, we're looking for answers now. And, it's something that touches people, I think, in a more personal way when it's a story about the one child, because people can relate to the one child. But when I say 85,000 children have gone missing for various reasons, whatever those reasons might be, they're unaccounted for. Maybe because the families came in illegally and they're afraid to be tracked, or maybe because they've been scooped up by people who want to abuse them in various ways. But 85,000. When I say 85,000, instantly I know that it just does not resonate with people on the same level as it does when we hear the story about that single child, that one child on a bus who didn't make it. That story is out there thousands of times over every year. And it's not like, in my estimation, it isn't like, well, there are problems, in your own neighborhood too, but not on that level. The biggest problem is right there on that border. At least a problem that can be dealt with here by the US and Canadian authorities. It's on our borders. The biggest issues surrounding child exploitation seem to be, surrounding children who are asylum seekers, either traveling alone or with adults. They're vulnerable. That's where something I think needs to be done. But that's why we also need to get down to the nitty gritty, look at the real stats, find out what the real information is, and then the relief can be targeted. The solutions can be targeted. The budgets can be allocated properly so that resources are deployed in a proper manner so that we can deal with these issues, And when I think back to the way Donald Trump dealt with this issue when he was first getting elected, it was about blaming immigrants, blaming migrants, blaming, in a way, it was like, they're going to go back. We're going to send them back. Remember? And some people can come in, but we're sending these ones back. And that's largely why he was accused of being racist and so on as well. But the approach was just a little bit different. You didn't hear, back when Donald Trump was the first time he got elected, his campaign rhetoric, it was never around saving the children. It was about shutting down the border, keeping the people out, Think about it. That's what he was talking about. And there's justification in that idea as well. But it wasn't about child welfare for him. It was about protecting America, protecting jobs, protecting the country from, mass immigration in his mind. And tonight, even Maxime Bernier from the People's Party of Canada, I received, an email from him, and that is the issue that is front and center for him as well in his latest email soliciting donations. Everybody's got their hand out, like I said. He wants people to donate, and he's hitting that immigration hot button himself. And in the lead paragraph, he says that, Canada can't afford mass immigration because, and there's an element of truth to this, but he says, having mass immigration drives down wages, and that there is some truth to that because as you bring in a mass flow or a mass influx of low skilled labor, you increase the supply of labor. If you increase the supply of anything, the value of it decreases because you have people who are in the market to purchase labor through wages. They have more choice. So they can keep on going down the line until they find somebody who's willing to work for less. And yeah, we do have minimum wage laws, but that doesn't really solve the problem either. So there's some truth in what Maxime Bernier is saying. And he says that allowing mass migration makes everyone poorer. It contributes to the housing crisis that we're facing now. And I explained all of that earlier tonight as well. So these are real issues, but the approach between the different politicians is a little bit different and sometimes a lot different. And hanging in the balance are honestly the most vulnerable people of all, the kids. They're the ones who need the most protection, the most support, because they don't have a voice. They're kids. They're not big enough to stand up for themselves. They just get caught up in a system. And, it's like some human trafficking ring puts them on a bus. Then they put them on a boat and they ship them across a river. And the next thing you know, they're shuffled into some country and picked up by the Border Patrol. And they're separated from their families and scared half to death and vulnerable and exploited sometimes and picked up by people who just want to profit off them in various ways, abuse them, whatever. 85,000 unaccounted for. Can you believe that? I can't fathom that. But it's true, I guess. That's the stat in that documentary that we showed you a few nights ago right here on the Maverick News Channel. There are realistic ways to deal with this stuff too, and you don't have to go down rabbit holes to understand that there is a problem, and it's been there for years and years and years. Why it's coming to a head right now? Elections, political unrest, world war. There's an information war going on. Politicians using it as a tool, a whole bunch of different reasons. Whatever those reasons are, it's okay. Some people, trying to make a buck off it even, which is just really disgusting, but that's another story. But let's deal with it. This is good. Drawing attention to the issue. Now we can get it out in front of people, in front of the politicians. And it's good that the politicians are addressing it. I just hope that we're actually addressing it in a realistic way, not a sensationalistic way, or in the case of Biden, in a way that is kind of like trying to diminish the problem, pretend like it's not as serious as it is or not even there. We got to do something because, it's just the kids. It's about saving the kids. Sure it is. But you got to keep in mind, too, that the problems don't even just originate here. Like, we're being forced to deal with a problem that's a much bigger problem in other countries to begin with, that we don't really have direct control over. It's indirect, or sometimes where our policies, our foreign policies and our monetary policies, our trade policies contribute to these problems in other countries where we have massive poverty issues. That's why the people seek asylum here, or there are wars, violence. People's lives are in complete chaos. They're in danger. That's why they flee to begin with. That's why they end up at the border. That's why you get all the kids there to begin with. The solution to the problem, people are all jacked up about this stuff and they want to lynch the politicians or whatever. But you really have to look at things in realistic ways and identify what the problems really are. Look at what the root of a problem is and then go after the root of the problem. And if the root of the problem is planted way over in another country to begin with, then we have to say, what can we do to help rectify that? And is it anything that we are doing that is contributing to the problem to begin with? And I would suggest to you that it is quite often something that we do have an influence over, or we're doing things that impact the problem at the root in another country, because it is rooted in our financial system, in our addiction to capitalistic debt financing of our lifestyle, where we, again, to come full circle on all of this stuff, it's about outsourcing production from here to other countries and allowing and our government allowing big companies to do that, to produce cheap crap and then have it shipped back and pay for it all with debt. And in the end, it leads to poverty in a lot of other countries. Well, we basically have said, yeah, we'll buy your stuff, and then we don't actually end up paying for it in real terms. Now, that's the macroeconomic view of the problem, and there are other issues that surround all of this, social issues, economic issues, monetary issues, an issue of attitude, honestly, with our politicians and even with us. Because while people sit around and say, I want to save the children, and you wear your orange shirt, do you really understand the issue? You think, what, you're going to get rid of Trudeau and you're going to fix the child trafficking problem? You think that's the only thing that's going to save the children? 85,000 of them on the US-Mexico border, and they're coming from countries all over the world, including Africa. They're coming through that border. People from Africa first going to like Central America or Mexico and then finding their way up into the US and Canada, because they know that that border is like a sieve. So they find their way there. Haiti. It's about our attitude, man. It's about ignorance too. People here, when I say ignorance, I mean, it's like people don't know what's really going on. They think they know. We're going to save the children. Yeah? How are you going to do that? Well, how are you going to do that when you don't even understand the economic forces at play here, when you don't really understand how the systems work, not just within our own country, but globally? What's causing the problem to begin with? People right now, from everything I'm seeing, I'm going to be frank with you, so many people are just reacting to this on an emotional level because they watched a movie, but they're not really tuned in to how the mechanics of all this works, why this is a problem to begin with, and where the problem really is, where it originates, where it manifests, where it brews, where it grows, where it becomes a problem within our country. And it's because it's coming home to roost, because it's all of these problems that we created through our systems here to begin with, that we've exported the problem and now it's coming here to roost at home. Again, it's percolating now. We have a moral obligation to deal with this stuff, but we need to do it smart. and realistically, and not just in a knee-jerk emotional fashion. I was heartened and filled with a little bit of hope when I watched that documentary with RFK Jr. because I thought that the way he portrayed a lot of this stuff, and when I saw him interacting with the people, and this is not just me plugging RFK because he's a politician like, politicians. You can say, oh, he's not the same as a politician. Well, I hope not, but I'm always skeptical. Nevertheless, you have to go with what you've got, right? Well, I'm just telling you that documentary, it seemed like it was, on some level there was authenticity and it felt a little genuine. A lot of the other stuff that I'm seeing, from these other politicians, it's like window dressing. And they say they're going to do this and they say they're going to do that, and then in the end, it doesn't really change anything. And I'm sorry, but whether Justin Trudeau is ejected from office or unelected and then has to leave another way, I'm pretty sure that the person that comes along and replaces him will probably use, whether it's Chrystia Freeland or somebody else, they'll just keep doing the same stuff. Got to dig down a little deeper than that. And is Pierre Poilievre the solution? I have a little more hope for him than I certainly do for JT. And if he's the next best thing, then I guess we go with that and put pressure on him, put pressure on them all, ask for the change. Vote, vote, vote. Get them out. Get somebody better in. Make your voices heard. Express yourself and let them know what your concerns are on these issues. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Wow, that's a hot button issue, isn't it? I've probably got everybody jacked up now. Rightly so. It's something pretty serious. I don't like even talking about it because it is so horrific. It's a terrible thing. And these kids, man, it's a real issue. But it's been an issue for a long time. And that's the thing. Before I go to the break, I'm like, I see so many people jacked up, and we're going to save the kids. You weren't even focused on the kids a year ago. You didn't give a damn about the kids when Donald Trump was saying, just turn them back, don't let them in. The only reason most people are focused on it is because they watched the movie. And, a year from now, I'll be surprised if 5% of the people who are all jacked up right now are even talking about this anymore, because people are so fickle and so short in the memory, and they just move on to the next thing. But hopefully a year from now, don't forget about the damn kids. They've been there the whole time.
We are Mavericks. We say no to the Trudeau and Biden New World Order. And to bugs. Because bugs are creepy and gross. And people should not eat bugs. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Hey, no! The bugs!
Okay, guys. So what else are we going to talk about tonight? Let me see what other stories we have lined up. And let me just check on Leo here. I don't know if he's got his live feed coming out of there yet or not. Yeah, here we go. Back to Leo. Live. Mouth of the South in Windsor. Back to the Ford Fest
probably ain't
in
having
Windsor.
a buck of beer. You made a lot of promises, and I get it. It's tough for politicians. Promises, I get it. It's been going on for a long time. I was hoping to get Sherry Bondi. I contacted her. She left. She's got some family obligations to do, but I was like, shoot, I wanted to get the interview with her, but I will get the interview. In fact, I like her. I like her family. She's the first female mayor in Essex, and she seems to be on top of everything. And if you look at her social media, what she does on the side out of her own pocket on the daily, now that's what I call a politician. Okay, can we get a freedom for the crowd?
And a little bit of
freedom. There you go, Andy. You got the freedom. Love it. So now you guys know who I am, right? You'll see me from time to time. Maverick News. You what?
I'm surprised you guys haven't.
I watch them all. I watch them daily. Sees me. Right? I don't.
And you know what? That's quite funny. When I ended up being here, people thought I was Leo for some reason. With my voice. The mouth of what? The mouth
of the South.
Mouth of the South. Coming live from Windsor, Ontario. Come on.
But if you're hungry, if you guys are hungry in Windsor, come on down.
You know, I know you can't. You know you don't. You know that, brother.
Yeah, a lot of police got to stay on the sidelines, right? the
so some freedom fighters out there tonight.
You got the druthers. Glad it worked out for you guys. So they were anticipating something that wasn't going to happen. Okay, guys, I got to get to work. Nice meeting you, my friend. I'll see you guys around the bend. You ain't seen the last of the mouth of the South. All right, guys. So it all worked out fine. There was no issues.
And he's still alive. So thank you, Leo, Mouth of the South.
I'm all about free food and feeding the community. But when you say it's free and Hazard County, baby.
That's my friend Paul's car, Dukes of Hazzard police car. He's got an actual general.
Just to show you guys the food line.
That's Paul Harrington.
That's my card.
So a lot of kids here. The food line's actually gone down. And the crowd's gone down. But a lot of kids out there, look at. So what do you guys think of this? Can I get you on here? Can I get you guys on here? Are you voting for Ford? Absolutely. There you go. What do you think of this little?
I guess they have to now that they took the free food.
Did you go? You're gonna vote for Doug Ford.
Doug Ford.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get on the rides at all? You guys just get here? Yeah. Free food. I really like that. I like everything free.
Now there's
the cotton candy,
the free market on full display. You make the food free, you get over.
But it did bring
1,000
people together, and that's the key thing.
If they had been charging,
I'll watch life.
Even $1 a hot dog.
The mayor of Windsor, he's a big liberal supporter.
I bet you he would have had.
So we had liberals, NDPs, and conservatives all in the same house, and there was no fist fight.
So I think we'll pull out of this. This is about.
I hope there's no crickets in the hot dogs and the hamburgers.
Yeah. Cricket burgers. That's what Doug Ford should be eating.
JoJo's watching. So with all that being said, I just want to say thank you to Maverick Multimedia for giving me the platform tonight. And it's being streamed on YouTube, Rumble, Roku, and I'm doing it off Facebook. So With that being said, I'm signing off. I got to get to work. You guys enjoy your weekend. By the looks of it, it's clear skies now. It may be a jet skiing weekend for me. Ciao, guys.
Thank you, Leo. Great coverage from Ford Fest, Windsor, Ontario, at the Chicharo Club, right there on the Windsor-Detroit border. For those of you watching in the United States or other parts of the world who don't know where Windsor, Ontario is, it's right there, right across the river from Detroit. And here is something, a fun fact. Did you know that Windsor is actually north of Detroit? It's true. People always say south of the border when referring to going, when you're thinking of talking about going from Canada to the United States. But Windsor is actually north of Detroit. Yeah, because of the way the geography is. So the river connecting the lakes, it wraps around, and then Windsor sits on top. So, yep, north. Or I'm sorry, actually, it's south of Detroit. So you have to go north to Detroit. It wraps around underneath, actually. Pretty cool. Most people don't know that. Windsor is south of Detroit. It's true. I didn't even think about it until I moved there, and then I learned that that's the case. I would not lie to you about that. It's way too important. Stay with me. I'll be right back after this.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Hello, world. Are you awake? Uniting humankind by liberating millions of minds at a time. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Here I am. So let's just talk a little bit about these wildfires in Hawaii. They're being described as the deadliest natural disaster since Hawaii's statehood. The official number coming out right now is that at least 67 people have been killed by those wildfires. And they're spreading rapidly even now because of very dry conditions there, stemming from a drought. That, combined with powerful trade winds being squeezed across Hawaii. And those winds are just spreading the embers and the ash like crazy. And we've seen in the video how strong those winds are. Much of the historic town of Lahaina has been destroyed, according to government officials there and first responders. The state of emergency still remains in effect for the entire island, while all non-essential travel to the island is still being discouraged. The big island of Hawaii I don't know if people there have ever seen anything like this ever. We've seen video of people saying that they had no choice but to, try to escape into the ocean. I saw a video clip of someone today saying that the water was actually on fire because so much ash had been blown into the water and was laying on top and was burning because it was so thick. It was still on fire even as it was floating on top of the water. The winds are being caused, apparently, according to meteorologists, by a strong high pressure system to the north and a strong low pressure system, Hurricane Dora, which is to the south. And as I say, the death toll yesterday, 36. Today, increased now to 67. That number is expected to grow as emergency crews figure out ways to get into different areas that they so far have not been able to get to. And a lot of people are saying tonight that that official death toll of 67, in their estimation, is probably very, very low. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, as I say, has declared a public emergency, a health emergency for Hawaii due to the wildfires. And that declaration gives the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, healthcare providers, and suppliers greater flexibility in meeting emergency health needs for people who have Medicare and Medicaid beneficiaries. So in other words, it allows them more latitude and flexibility in the way that they can access resources. That's a common approach in Canada and the United States for governments at local and state and provincial levels to deal with disasters like this. So let's go to some video tonight. We'll just pick up this social media feed and we'll show you some of the footage that is being shared out there this evening. Some of it very recent. Here's some drone footage from an affected area. Like, seriously, it looks like a bomb went off. It really does look like this was some sort of an attack. This was simply the result of a fire. What caused the fires? Don't know. Obviously, they will be looking at all of this, investigating it. Efforts will no doubt be made to try to figure out what started it, how it was able to spread so broadly and so quickly, and why this happened on this scale, and what might be done in the future to mitigate the risk and prevent this from happening like this again, if possible. Devastating. Absolutely devastating. Here's people who jumped into the ocean to get away. And you can see that the water's very rough, and the winds are very, very strong. Smoke. All these cars destroyed, burned up. And you know, when you sit and think about it, it's like, well, how could these people have been killed? Like, why wouldn't they just get out of the way? But I don't think you can fully appreciate what they were facing or what they were dealing with unless you were there. I can sort of understand how you can get trapped in an area and then have the wildfires, sweep over you, have smoke sweep over your vehicle or your home or wherever you are, and you suffocate basically, right? and you could be overcome by the smoke, pass out, and then die when the flames catch up. Any number of scenarios, really. You could have trees fall on you that are burning. You might not see the danger, and then suddenly a tree that's burning could just topple over and hit your vehicle, or just fall right on top of you. And I don't really, I'm not buying into this, all this conspiracy theory stuff, like this stuff. Prove it. You want me to believe? Like, I'll believe it when I see some actual proof, but I need something more than just a picture like this. And again, that stuff's going viral online.
What the fuck, dude?
And this is the video that I think is still continues to circulate that we've shown you before. Stirring up controversy too because of what they're about to do here, and that's just drive by a woman laying on the ground.
You need to go, bro. Yeah, go. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. What the fuck? What is this? Yeah. Let's go! Damn, it's hot. Let's go, Dad. We're good. Motherfucker. Quick. Good. Oh my god, dude. Okay, it's okay. We're almost to the end of the meal. We're almost to the smokestack. Oh, we made it. We found it. We got our line on the road. Oh my god. Somebody's down right now. Somebody's down right now. Somebody's down. Just go there. We cannot do nothing for her. Oh my god, bro. Just go. Go. We cannot do nothing for her. What the fuck, dude? Just go. Go, people, go. Beat the horn, dude. Oh my god, bro. Oh, beat the horn. Just go. I can't see. Yeah, I know you can't see, bro. What the fuck? Okay. Almost in the smokestack. Is there anybody like real Mexican grill, bro? Fuck.
That's my friend's fucking business, man.
Oh, they're not even close to where they're supposed to be. Over there, real, bro. People are gonna get fucked over there, man.
You can see there's even dust in our here, man.
No, I don't know yet. We're trapped right now. We're trapped. We're still headed down the Lahaina Luna Road. The car in front of us caught on a wire I can see. On the left side. Watch this side. So far, so good, though. Go, just keep going. Follow that car. Yeah, but where?
Look at the wind and the flames whip up.
Can we go to Front Street? Is anybody on Front Street? It said Civic Center. It's the shelter. Civic Center.
Wow. Terrible. Okay, so what else do I have to tell you about tonight? See, I have some notes here, I think, on the Hunter Biden thing. Yeah. So, as you probably have heard, Attorney General Merrick Garland has elevated the status of the prosecutor who has been investigating the business dealings of Hunter Biden and into a special counsel. So that will, I think, have some impact on the way the election campaign unfolds. You know, it's American politics is an interesting thing. Here in Canada, I keep seeing people say things like, we need to have a republic like they have in the United States. But when I'm looking down south of the border, I think that there's a whole set of problems on the US side too. I don't know that it's any better or any worse. Sometimes I think it's almost worse. I'm not convinced that having a special counsel or anything else is actually going to lead to any kind of real justice for the Biden family or Hunter Biden himself, or any of these politicians or any of these people in power. I think a lot of it is just political theater, even the lawfare portion of it. It just seems to go around and around and around in circles, and people get all upset about it. And in the end, nothing ever seems to happen to any of them. I think the lawyers make a lot of money, but in the end, it's a great big nothing. It's always a big nothing. Trump yelling, lock her up, lock her up. And then he gets to be president. And did he lock her up? No. Nothing. And then he's in power and they're like, Russia, Russia, Russia. And did anything actually happen? And was that even real? It seemed like a great big nothing in the end. But now they're resurrecting all of that and trying to sling that mud again, while at the same time use J6 as a legal means to silence him and shut him down. And maybe some of that will work, but in the end, is it really about actual justice of any kind? Or is it just about trying to cut him off at the knees or whatever? I don't know. It's not real is what I'm saying. It's like a fabrication. It's a game. And it's almost gotten to the point now where I think it's like if you engage in politics on the US side, you have to expect to get sued, that you're just going to spend a bunch of time in court because both sides spend so much time suing each other and pursuing each other with investigations and slinging mud. But at the same time, I think a lot of the corruption that they're sort of uncovering is real. But in the end, doesn't seem like anybody is ever held accountable. Do you really think Hunter Biden's going to go to jail, or Joe Biden? They're going to put Joe Biden behind bars for any of the corrupt things that he's been involved with? I really kind of doubt it. And then even when you look at the process, Mike Pence says that he has now qualified to be on the debate stage. And in order to get there, he needed 40,000 individual donors. And somehow he managed to get to that point. But when I really stand back and look and learn about how this whole system works as an outsider from another country with, some knowledge of how the system is set up, it's very clear that there's a lot of room for, how shall I put this? Finessing, massaging numbers to make things sort of happen. It's like, how do you get to 40,000 donors? You can use a variety of means, I suppose. You could maybe even have somebody kind of go around and get involved in some sort of a scam where you give different people a few dollars each to donate to a campaign in their name, and take somebody who's got a lot of money, who would be like one donor, and then take that money and maybe split it up among a whole bunch of people and get all of those individuals to donate the money back into the campaign. So we know that that kind of thing has gone on in the past, and I'm wondering if it's actually going on even now. And then the other question is, does the GOP, do they actually conduct any sort of scrutiny on this stuff? Do they dig into these records and verify that all 40,000 of these donors are real people? And it's not just Pence. I mean, it's just a lot of these candidates taking steps to qualify And then we saw Chris Christie just this past week step up and say, I guess they have to sign a pledge of some kind saying that they'll support in the end whoever the candidate is. And he said that, he'll sign it, but he just doesn't really mean it. So he signs something, makes a promise that he signs, but says while he's doing it that he doesn't actually mean it, which shows a couple of things. It shows that the process is toothless, and that the GOP really has no enforcement mechanism there, so that this declaration, this promise to, in the end, even if you lose, come back and be a supporter of the party by supporting whoever the candidate is that is chosen. It's disingenuous, and it's not enforceable. But more than that, what does it say about Chris Christie, who signs the thing? And while he's signing it, he's saying, yep, I'm going to sign my name to this promise, which I have no intention of keeping. I am a politician, and like all politicians, I hereby declare that the promise I am making, I am going to probably break. Vote for me. But at least I'm being honest about telling you that I'm going to break the promise that I just put my signature to. And that's the U.S. system of government today. That's how they go about choosing a candidate. And over on the DNC side, we've seen how Bernie Sanders was treated, how he really was the one with the actual support that should have propelled him to be the candidate. But in the end, nope, had to be Clinton. And then it had to be Biden, because these were the ones that were chosen by the people who are really in charge over there at the DNC, the big DNC machine, the same DNC machine that was part of, that put Obama into office, the same DNC machine today that works against RFK Jr. because they don't want him. So there he is, and his own party works against him on many levels, and on very complex levels, I think, as well, as I kind of laid out the other night when I was talking about the way that he's being questioned, scrutinized, criticized for his position on Israel and Palestine, and the way that the party, I think, has kind of set it up so that it doesn't matter which side he chooses or which side he might be sympathetic to in any fashion. He's in a no-win situation where he's accused of being a racist, coming or going. They've got people from within the DNC on both sides ready to attack him. If he says anything favorable about Israel, the people on the pro-Palestinian side attack him. And if he comes over to the Palestinian side and says, hey, I kind of understand where you're at, then the people who are pro-Israeli, who are pro-Israel, they attack him. So he's got people on the DNC beating him up. I think that's by design, because they don't want him. And yet the other candidates, did they hold Biden accountable on the same level? I'm not seeing that kind of scrutiny come from the people who are hammering away at RFK Jr. from within the party. They're kind of like silent on Biden. I haven't seen much criticism. I mean, there's sometimes there has been a little bit, but no, they're not holding Biden's feet to the fire on this. Not like RFK Jr., who through the mainstream media, which is also a DNC controlled thing, except for maybe Fox. And even then, they just portray him as crazy and a conspiracy theorist. And if they're not doing that now, it's like he's a racist because he supports Israel. Oh no, he supports Palestine. Oh, he's racist on that side. And they're forcing him to choose a side on the issue. And I don't know what he's going to do. He'll have to come up with a strategy to minimize the damage from all of this. but they don't want to let it go. They're going to keep on using it. Anyway, that's something we dealt with the other night, and worth a little bit of a recap here maybe this evening. And I suspect we'll probably touch on that in the days and weeks ahead as we get into more and more on the election front and get closer and closer to election day. I'm seeing also a lot of posts about maybe an election call coming as early as this weekend in Canada. I don't know how much stock to put in that. I'm not seeing, aside from people kind of speculating or putting stuff out there on social media, again, like so many other things that are thrown out there, I'm not seeing any real indication of that this weekend. I don't think that those posts, my personal opinion, will come to pass. I don't think that that's going to happen. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't think. If you've seen those posts, I'm predicting right now that come Monday, there still will be no election call. I think there's one probably coming very soon, but I don't think it's coming this weekend. And one of the reasons I think that it's probably not coming this weekend is because Justin Trudeau has gone off on a vacation with the wife that he is splitting up with and his family. And the media, the mainstream media, is covering that in much the same way that they cover Hollywood celebrities, because that's the way they treat JT. I saw a picture of him taken while he was coming up the escalator. It looked like at an airport or something. I don't know, man. I guess he was at the airport and he had his little, side fanny pack thing on because, he's so, fashion forward and metrosexual, just the way he is. I couldn't get a good glimpse at his socks, but he was plastered all over the news website there where I saw that. And there were, most of the mainstream media outlets have a story about him jetting off on his vacation this weekend. Great work if you can get it being the PM. He takes a lot of vacations, flies around as RCMP protection for his family, stays in the finest hotels, eats the finest foods, racks up pretty substantial grocery bills, as I understand. Last I heard, it was around $6,000 a month. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. And with that being said, I think it's about time we wrap up for the night. Now, again, you can donate and support the channel at freedomreporters.com. You can also donate at maverickdonations.com. You can donate through the Rumble Rants on the Rumble channel. If you haven't subscribed on Rumble, please consider doing that. Please consider subscribing as well on YouTube and hit the notification bell if you do. Facebook, we're under fire over there still. Things kind of rocky. We should get our main YouTube channel back, hopefully, over the weekend, maybe as early as tomorrow. I'm not sure. So our audience will be boosted there again. But we're doing pretty well over on Rumble. And thank you so much tonight to Leo, Mouth of the South, for bringing us that live feed from Ford Fest and the coverage of Premier Doug Ford's speech in Windsor, Ontario, where we got the latest scoop on what's going on with that Stellantis battery facility for electric vehicles, which is going to have a major impact on the auto industry in both Canada and the United States. A big impact locally with regard to jobs, but also it's part of the whole electric vehicle revolution and that economic equation. And very grateful for Leo bringing us that coverage tonight, because while it may seem like that was just a local story, it certainly is more than that. It has national and even international impact, everything that he's doing right now, especially when it comes down to Canada's Motor City, Windsor, Ontario, Canada, right there next to Detroit, Michigan, one of my favorite cities, two of my favorite cities, Windsor, Detroit. Folks, I will be back tomorrow night, same bat time, same bat station, the Maverick News Channel. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Maverick family. A privilege to have everybody here with me tonight. I'm glad that I could share the time with you. And like I say, 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.